welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra
and Kat.
Today we are covering the season finale of Season 3, Episode 22, All Hell Breaks Loose.
Yeah.
This one aired on May 17th, 2001.
And I literally did not remember anything about this episode except the name of the demon, and I only remember that because of gift sets that I'd seen on Tumblr.
Yeah, and forewarning, I will be referring to him as Grayscale Fabio. If you haven't seen this episode and you don't know why, maybe give it a watch.
Yeah. Well, we'll explain why, because, I'm me, and that's what we do on this thing.
He just looks like a Grayscale Fabio. That's it. That's it for me.
So this episode was directed by Shannon Doherty, which is why she was a dog for most of the last episode, because when you're directing an episode, then you have to do a lot of preparation.
Yeah, and usually, this wasn't her first episode that she directed, was it? What was the first one?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
You mentioned it before.
I mentioned it, but I honestly don't remember which episode it was.
Either way, typically, actors in shows, from what I'm aware of, like, the first episode they direct, they won't be in much, because they're trying to, like, do behind-the-scenes stuff and, like, all of that. But subsequent ones, they may be in a little bit more. I remember Jonathan Frakes' first episode that he directed of Star Trek TNG. He literally had one scene. Mm-hmm. He had, I want to say 2 lines. And got to kiss the woman who plays Lizzie McGuire's mom.
Well, alrighty then.
Uh-huh. It's a good episode. Data made a baby. A fully adult-shaped baby.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It was fun.
Alrighty then. Anyway, let's get back to this show.
Yeah, sure.
This is... No, you know what? I'm going to leave my conjecture until we get to the end of it, and then I will. So, we immediately start in the manor as Prue, Piper, Phoebe, and a doctor walk inside. Phoebe is in tight gray yoga pants that tie like a shoe.
Yeah, they're laced up at the front.
Yeah. With a white shirt that has like a rainbow kind of glittery star.
It's like those,
in the center of it.
It's not quite sequins, it's like iron-on little silvery discs.
Yeah. Yeah,
little metallic discs.
Little metallic discs in rainbow colors.
I had a bunch of shirts like that as a kid.
Yeah. And it is puckered at the bottom to turn it into a crop top. So
yeah.
It's like ruched.
It was already pretty short, but it's a little ruched.
And she's wearing a tan jacket with that. Piper is in black pants and a pinkish, purplish button-down shirt under a dark reddish-brown jacket. And the sleeves of the pink shirt are long enough to come out of the sleeves of the jacket, which was like a big thing back in the early aughts.
Mm-hmm. How else are you going to know how long the sleeves are?
Yeah. Prue is in dark jeans with a lovely belt buckle showing, with a black shirt that seems to have like a black sheer overlay. We'll see that better in a little bit, and I'll
it's like tied to the shoulder, but with a split.
We'll see it,
sleeve.
We'll see it later, and we can go into that. And that she's wearing a black leather jacket over that, and all 3 girls have their hair down and straight. Doctor,
so much as Phoebe's hair can be straight like this. It wasn't straightened.
Yeah. The doctor is in black pants, a blue shirt, a yellow and black diamond pattern tie, and the stereotypical knee-length white lab coat. Now,
his hair is balding.
Yes. Now, I'm not going to tangent on the white coat, but did you know that until the mid-1920s, medical students who examined cadavers would wear black lab coats as a sign of respect for the dead?
I did not know that, but that is fun.
Yep. And most hospitals actually don't have doctors in those stereotypical white coats anymore, because there was apparently a study that shows that those coats could carry contagions from one patient to another. I'm not sure how that differs from normal clothes or scrubs carrying contagions from one patient to another, but there you go. Studies and things.
Well, no, because my dad's a doctor, and, when he's doing surgery that day, he won't, wear it around, obviously, but, if he's just doing checkups or visits or whatever.
Yeah, and it's not all hospitals either.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of hospitals that have...
But he's also an oncologist, so it's...
Yes.
The transfer of contagions
Yes, all of my oncologists have
probably
those.
more avoiding the transfer of contagions is probably more important for like oncologists than for like your typical like GP.
Yeah.
But
And like emergency rooms is also the big one where they don't wear white coats in emergency rooms.
They don't.
But
Despite what Grey's Anatomy might tell you.
Yeah, well, we do not do fictional doctor shows. We do not hold them to a high standard.
We gotta hold them to some standard, though.
The standard of that
honestly, with the medical scenes in this episode, I'd say Grey's Anatomy definitely definitely got it better throughout their thing than this episode did. But
yeah. Anyway,
Charmed is not a medical show, so we don't hold them to any kind of standard with medicine.
This is true. I will, of course, link to the White Coat Wiki on the website in case anyone wants to read more about it. Now, speaking of this doctor, we will learn that his name is Dr. Griffiths.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a total that guy, so let me tell you about it. The actor is Matt Malloy. His first IMDb acting credit is in 1988, and he is still going strong with 139 acting credits as of the time of this recording.
The only thing I can think when I hear Malloy is the one bit from a Harry Potter musical where Voldemort sees Draco and he goes, "Lucius Malloy's boy!"
Yep.
There's like a Malloy Liquors on, I don't know, it's somewhere between here and I think my bowling league, that I occasionally see, and I'm just like, Malloy's boy!
Nice.
That's all I got in my head.
Hey, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's all you need.
Very, very true.
Anyway, so they're all worried because they think a demonic hitman is after this doctor who doesn't believe in demons or anything, and Phoebe's premonition didn't give them a whole lot of, time frame for this whole attack thing.
So Prue tells Phoebe to go upstairs, check the Book of Shadows to get them a vanquish for the demon. Piper tells her not to get sidetracked by the coal potion thingy, which was completely unnecessary, but whatever. Phoebe heads upstairs, and Prue questions Piper about said coal potion thingy.
Piper tells Prue that Cole says that he only killed the witch because he was under a spell.
Which, how gullible is she?
Yep, they both lament the fact that she's not actually over him like they thought/hoped.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you, girls.
I know.
And the doctor is freaking out because he has no idea what's going on or why they abducted him from work.
Prue tells him that since he's a healer, he is someone who does good, and apparently Shax, the demon, the Source's assassin, Prue calls him, is out to kill him because either he has saved a life they didn't want him to save, or he will sometime in the future.
Right. The doctor thinks that he's on a hidden camera show or that his second wife put them up to this, which I thought was a very funny line.
Very
that it was the second wife.
It's a very, very efficient, character insight.
Yeah.
Just that little bit, he's very, very, not believing in the supernatural. And B, he's apparently enough of an asshole that he's been divorced twice.
Or,
he
didn't say second ex-wife, didn't he? He just said second wife. So,
people don't usually say.
You never know.
Well, if they only have the one ex-wife, they'll say my ex-wife. But if they have more than one, they have to say which one.
This is true.
So, besides, why would your current spouse put you on a prank show and get you abducted from work?
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
We have seen enough. So,
True.
Speaking of things, so hidden camera shows aren't really as popular these days because there's YouTube now. But one of the biggest or most famous shows was called Candid Camera. And there are various different versions of that show that have aired between 1948 and 2014. There were so many different versions of Candid Camera. I'm gonna link to the wiki for anyone who wants to know more about that specific show because it was nuts.
Yeah,
absolutely nuts.
I in particular was more a fan of Punk'd, for a little bit, mostly when Ashton Kutcher was on it. Mm-hmm. I specifically remember the episode with Neil Patrick Harris where he and his husband went to some California state park. And the whole deal was that they were going to come back and there was going to be a bear in their car. And he just kind of sits up on the ridge and starts cracking jokes about it. They can't get him to break anything. And his husband is trying to pretend to be freaked out.
That's funny.
Oh man, it was great. And you just kept making puns. But yeah,
Yep.
that's probably my favorite episode of any prank show of all time because it so didn't work.
That's amazing.
Oh,
I
it
enjoy
really
it.
was.
See, I like it when it goes poorly
Uh-huh.
in a good way.
Yeah.
Where it goes poorly because they weren't scared.
Goes poorly for the show.
Yeah.
Not for the pranky.
Yeah. That's always nice. Anyway, so Prue starts to say something to the doctor, but then stops, saying that she felt a chill.
She calls out for Phoebe, who yells down, apparently from the attic,
Uh-huh.
that she's coming. And then a tornado of wind bursts through the front door, and we get a lovely POV from inside said tornado as it goes through the door and it sees them.
Yeah.
Piper and Prue, again, call out for Phoebe. The tornado flies across the foyer and knocks Prue and Piper to the floor. There's a giant clap of thunder. I'm very happy that I avoided actually clapping while describing that.
Thank you.
And then the tornado calms down and Shax appears.
He is a tall demon and is gray all over.
Grayscale Fabio.
Yep. Long gray hair, gray skin, an unbuttoned flowy gray shirt, long gray pants.
And the pants, are the pants flowy? I feel like the pants are flowy.
Yeah. A little
Yeah.
bit. They're a little bit flowy. He kind of looks like he came from that same grayscale movie world from what was the movie that Phoebe likes? Kill It Before It Dies?
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of
Yeah, but except that was
grayscale.
just, the filming didn't have color. So
Right.
that's actually grayscale. He is literally all the same color. Everything is the same color. There's like some slight pink undertones on his face where like the makeup is kind of showing through a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you
But
can
that's what
only
it
do so
reminded me,
much.
though, was Kill
Yeah.
It Before It Dies. And I'm like, huh, interesting.
But
So-
yeah, grayscale Fabio. And the entire time he's ever on screen, there's just a wind blowing his hair because he's made of fucking wind or some shit.
Yep. And guess who plays Shax?
Who?
It's the one and only Michael Bailey Smith. He's so
Yay.
versatile.
I know, right?
Yeah. So, Shax starts to go after the doctor. Prue gets up off the floor and pushes the doctor out of the way.
Shax throws some kind of, it's not really an energy ball exactly, as much as
It was like a
Visible
ball of
shockwave?
lightning. Yeah, it was like a kind of
It's
a
a-
ball of lightning to
it's
go
a
with the
visible
thunder.
shockwave because it's like rather ovoid. It's
Yeah, sure.
yeah, it's
Shape
not like,
doesn't matter
it's not
either
a,
way.
well,
It was
I'm saying it's not a ball because it's nothing actually really that visible. It's more like an air displacement, but blue tinged.
okay.
That's what it looked like to me.
I couldn't tell that it was blue tinged, but okay.
Oh well, yeah. Well, that's why I'm here because
Yeah.
I see blue immediately.
Yeah,
He's right there.
he's right there.
Um,
Anyway,
podcast notes. Kendra points below the table.
yes.
Yeah, but
Anyway, so
Prue gets a shockwave thrown at her, and she flies
flings
through the wall,
through a wall, through
Into
a
the wicker room.
tapestry.
through a tapestry on the wall, through the wall, into the wicker room,
Yeah.
and then Piper calls out for Prue, gets up, and then Shax throws another energy ball at Piper, and she flies through
The same wall.
the same wall, but through the door frame in the wall.
Yeah. So she got more hurt in the physical hitting of the wall. She got more hurt because she was at a more structurally integral part of the wall. Like Prue went through like the
She went
middle
through some
of-
harder shit.
Yeah, like if you look at
Thicker
a
studs.
normal if you look
I
at
don't think that's a load-bearing wall, though.
No, I don't think it is either. But if you look at like a normal wall where there's a door frame, the middle of the wall itself not as hard to go through as the side with the door frame in it, because you know there's a stud there.
Especially these door frames, because they're made of metal.
Yes.
So, don't throw someone through those.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, no. Anyway.
Unless
So-
you're doing a Kool-Aid Man cosplay, I guess, in which case, fair game.
Yeah, don't do that. No. No. Shax turns to the doctor, asks what he is,
And Shax, with his hair
blowing in the wind, says, "The end."
And I love the effect they're doing on his voice, because it's subtle, but very present.
Yeah, it's a little bit echoey,
Yeah.
and it's cool. Like,
Yeah, they
did
added,
a
like,
really
some
good-
reverb
Yeah.
and an undertone.
Yeah.
And that was about it. Like, it's... yeah, I'm doing that. That
Chef's kiss, I
that
believe.
chef's kiss hand sign. So,
Yeah.
which apparently is also a gang sign for some people.
All right. Anyway, he says the end as Phoebe comes down the stairs holding a piece of paper. And
As he's like cocking his arm to throw the shockwave, she says a spell.
Evil wind that blows, that which forms below, no longer may you dwell, death takes you with this spell.
And Grayscale Fabio clearly doesn't like this. He kind of like contorts a little bit, and then there's a flash, and he goes out the door.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a thunder crack, some lightning flashes, he starts groaning, and then he like minimizes via a cloud of light and disappears out the front door, closing the front door softly behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yep. Yeah. The doctor looks on in shock. Phoebe sees Prue and Piper and kind of like steps over all of the broken shit toward them.
Yeah.
Somehow they didn't obliterate any furniture in this.
No, they did not.
That's magical.
Yeah. We get a quick overhead view of them where we can see that they are unconscious and bleeding from the ears.
And right fucking next to each other.
Yep.
On their backs. They're in the same position and their heads are on some debris.
Yes. And Piper has her hand on her forehead.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Uh-huh.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, she's also got a little blood coming out of her nose.
Yeah, a little bit of blood coming out of her nose.
But like, I get that they were thrown through the same wall, but also Piper wasn't thrown from the same location.
Yeah.
So the where they ended up is just really funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Phoebe calls out to Leo.
He orbs in. He is wearing dark gray pants, a light gray ribbed sweater over a white t-shirt, under a medium tone gray jacket.
Yeah, there's
a
a gray.
lot of gray clothes in this episode.
So much.
So much gray.
How many shades of gray would you say?
I could not begin to speculate.
And so we won't.
Exactly. Phoebe tells Leo to hurry because it's bad.
So Leo kneels down pretty much right in between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out that the reason they were placed the way they were was so that he could have one hand over each of their chests.
Yes.
He heals them. All of the blood disappears. They are completely fine. Except that they wake up and groan in pain and ask what happened.
Yeah.
Which I don't think has happened before.
No.
People generally just wake up and go, oh, what happened?
Everything's fine. But Leo tells them that they almost died. And my favorite is Piper's response.
What else is new? And then Prue asks where Grayscale Fabio went.
Yeah. Phoebe says that she tried to use the vanquishing spell on him, but that it seems to have just wounded him and he turned back into wind.
And Prue says that, oh, well, the spell probably needs more than a witch to have the full impact. So she gets up, helps Piper up, still both going, ow, 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 tells Piper to go with her to find Shax and finish him off while he's still hurt.
She tells Phoebe to stay with the doctor in case Shax comes back and use the spell again to fend him off.
And then Prue and Piper go outside.
Leo looks at the doctor, who's in shock, and as they go outside, we just want to be clear that they do not take the spell with them, because if they had, this would have been a very short episode.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah, because if they had...
That would have only affected the Shax storyline. That wouldn't have affected...
But that's what I'm saying. It would have been a very short episode monster-wise.
Monster-wise, yes.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, because something's about to happen, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to outside. Prue and Piper are making their way down some kind of alleyway or driveway.
Yeah, but it's not their driveway. It's like the one next, like down the street a little bit.
Yeah.
They're walking toward the street. They're holding hands as they go, which I thought was adorable.
As they do.
Piper thinks that Phoebe hurt him worse than they thought, but Prue knows that he's still waiting to get what he came for.
Piper wonders if he'd really attack in broad daylight.
And they stop toward the bottom of the driveway as Prue hears something.
And then the tornado comes up behind them, so they turn around and gasp. The tornado dies down, and voila, is Shax.
Yeah.
He throws his little, like, shockwave at them, and Prue deflects it back with her power. So it hits him, but obviously doesn't do anything.
Piper calls out, "Blow this," and then holds her hands out and blows up Shax.
He disappears, and it's a little more intense than the last time he disappeared, but
it's definitely not vanquish worthy.
It's kind of anticlimactic still.
Yeah.
Prue reminds Piper that they didn't say the spell, and Piper says, well, we don't always need a spell.
Yeah, he might be dead. We don't always need it.
They both look around them and go, Lucky no one saw this.
Yeah. Prue tells her they should get back to Phoebe, and they head back up the drive and to go back to the house. And we cut across the street.
Where a female reporter and a cameraman with a very large camera are watching Prue and Piper. And the thing is, they would have been in the shot
Yeah.
from Piper and Prue's perspective. Like,
Yeah.
we would have seen them at the angle that they're looking at this.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yep.
Like, they weren't behind a bush. They weren't, like, a little ways down the street. They weren't occluded by a fucking stop sign or whatever.
Nope.
They were very much obviously there. And the woman is wearing, what?
bright
Pink?
freaking red.
Bright red. Like, a very, very bright color.
Mm-hmm. She's
But
wearing
yeah,
a red
anyway.
pantsuit. She turns back to the camera and tells the live audience that she isn't sure what they all just saw.
But that they saw it live.
Yeah. So we are shown on the overlay, because it's a news program for Channel 8 KCSF, which is hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned that her name is Alana Dominguez. And it's Alana. Elana.
Mm-hmm.
Which my note program does not like as a name.
I mean, names in general.
Yeah. It's not a fan of it. Anyway.
Your program's racist.
No, it wants it to be Elena.
I know.
I'm sure.
Or possibly Alana.
Yeah.
Instead of Elana.
Yeah. Anyway, I shall tell you about the actress. Her name is Mercedes Colon. Her first acting credit on IMDb is in 1997, and she is still going strong. One of her most recent gigs is playing Margot Velazquez on the TV show The Fosters, for anyone who watches that. The cameraman gets no name.
And we barely see his face.
At least in this scene. We do see him a little later. He is played by Mark Bennington. He has only got 15 acting credits so far as of the time of this recording, starting back in 2000. He is still going strong, including a movie in pre-production, with most of his stuff being from India.
Interesting.
Yeah, thought that was quite interesting. And now, I'm not going to tangent or even link to it, because it doesn't really matter, but there is a KCSF radio station, not TV station, that is a sports radio station in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and it is AM 1300.
Good to know.
Yeah, in case anyone cares.
We cannot get that from here.
Nope.
Whatever. Anyway,
We go to the opening credits.
and we learn that we get both a Daryl and a Cole in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Our transition shots after the opening credits, we get a lovely sunrise helicopter shot over the water, past a buoy, toward the Golden Gate Bridge. And then a couple of different overhead shots of the Golden Gate Bridge showing traffic growing on the bridge before we get that shot that pushes in through the bridge toward the city. Then we get the overhead shot of the buildings where we get a lovely glimpse of the Triangle Building before getting a lovely shot of the manor where we get an awesome glimpse of the Swan Hitch. Like, boom, right there in the middle.
Yep.
Now, according to Soundhound,
Hashtag not sponsored.
the song playing on Netflix is Lonely Child by Slok. S-L-O-K.
I didn't hear any words. Did you hear any words?
I did.
Okay.
There were words. But I could not find out anything about this band.
It fascinates me how much that happens with the Netflix replacements. There must be like some service they pay to find either public domain or like really cheap copyrighted music.
Yeah.
That where they just people submit it to there just so it'll get on. And then the bands like fall apart or something, or they never had an internet presence, and then no one can find them later.
Yeah, and it's sad though, because it sounded like it was a really good song.
That sounded okay.
Like, I would have probably liked to listen to that full song to hear how good it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was nice. But according to IMDb, I believe the original song that was playing at this moment was Dream On by Depeche Mode.
Which is the one mode you never want your printer to get stuck on.
It is true.
They'll always say, I just can't get enough.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They are an English band. I'm going to link to the wiki on the website. I'm not going to tangent on Depeche Mode because then we will get into so many tangents about my childhood, and I'm just not in the mood right now.
Mm-hmm. You're a bit depeshed?
Yeah.
Okay. Prue, Phoebe, and the Doctor are all sitting in the Wicker Room. Prue and Piper have removed their jackets. Phoebe and the Doctor have not.
We can see now that Prue's shirt is a sheer black drapey thing over a cropped black cami shirt.
Yeah, it's got like
That
tie
has, like-
shoulder sleeves.
Yeah,
and they split along
Only on
the
the
top.
one side, though.
Only on the one side.
It was
okay.
only. It was the one side of the sheer had the split like
sleeve.
sleeve thing, but the cropped cami underneath has scalloped details. It was cute. I actually really enjoyed that top. It was cute. Anyway, we can also see that Piper's shirt is very thin.
Very thin.
Like you can see her skin tone through the shirt. And it has pockets over the boobs.
You can also see her pants through the shirt.
Who thought pockets over the boobs was a good thing, ever?
It was
on female clothing.
no, it was designed for men, and then they just transferred it over.
Yeah. Don't put boob pockets.
No,
You can't use them. There's
I mean
literally...
not unawkwardly. You can just stick your hands in them, but that's not going to work very well.
No, not so much. Boob pockets are never a good look.
No.
Anyway,
Piper walks in holding a glass of water, hands it to the doctor. He thanks her and takes a little sip.
the girls are asking him if he understands why he has to keep them a secret, and he says that he mostly understands, and then says, so much for being an atheist.
which gets zero response.
Yeah, complete silence. He says that their secret is safe with him, and I am not going to tangent on atheism. I will link to the wiki, though.
Uh-huh. Phoebe thanks him. He thanks her back, and they head toward the front door.
And as they leave the room, Leo walks in and asks how it went.
Prue thinks that they didn't really vanquish Shax. Piper is confused since it's the third demon in a row she's taken out with her new power, though who's counting?
Mm-hmm.
And as Phoebe returns, Prue wonders why there'd be a spell in the book if it wasn't needed.
Leo reminds them that the book was written by witches with less power than them, so they actually, needed the spells. And Phoebe says that Shax would have attacked again by now if he was still around.
Prue asks Leo to check with the elders, just
in
in
case.
case, and he orbs on out. Piper thinks Prue is being paranoid. Prue relents, and Phoebe tells them that she's going to try a new potion on Cole, so she won't be around for a bit.
When Piper starts to say something, Phoebe says that she's not looking for approval, just support, and Prue says that it's hard to support her when she's setting herself up to get hurt.
Very sisterly sentiment.
Yeah.
Phoebe says she knows Cole still has good in him, so she has to try to get it back, and asks Piper to use the reworded magic to magic spell, so she'll star 69 herself down to Cole.
Yeah. Phoebe hands Piper a piece of paper. Piper is worried about not being able to contact her. Phoebe says that she'll be safe with Cole, and Prue's like, you're banking a lot on a potion. And Phoebe's like, no, I'm banking on Cole.
This could
And he'll bring me back, don't worry.
Again, this could have been written so much better.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense. Okay, so if there was a spell, why didn't we see it said over him? You could have made it very clear that he was coerced, other than the weird, unexplained, sweaty peak that he had that entire fucking episode. And yes, I'm still harping on this. But obviously it's something that needs to be harped on, because it was not written well, guys.
Yeah.
I want to root for them. I rooted for them when I was a kid. I want to keep doing it, but I can't because I know more about life, and this is just shit.
Yep.
This plot line is just, it doesn't work. I've read too much fanfic. This cannot go uncommented on.
I would really like all of the people who think that the Phoebe Cole relationship is OTP to go back and rewatch this show and tell me if you still think, after all your new life experiences, that their relationship is a good relationship. Because
they have
spoiler,
moments, and I love the moments that they
not.
have. I do love the moments that they have. But the writers keep throwing shit at them, and it's just...
Yeah. Your fave is problematic.
I mean, they're not even my fave.
No, that it's the people who think that
Oh, yeah.
they're OTP.
Eh.
Anyway, we cut to that cave in the underworld with the rock covered in candles.
And Cole is laying down in a black robe, sleeping on some straw, and he's got a burlap a stuffed burlap sack holding up his head, and I'm just like, guys, you're evil. You can have better digs than this.
Yeah.
Like, you could evil manipulate stock markets and shit, and like, haven't we had plot lines where they're like, oh, well, the way that evil manipulates up here is to like take over companies and shit. Like, yeah, you can buy condos like that.
Yeah.
You could live nicely.
Yeah.
You could, I don't know, possess architects or whatever and bring them down to the underworld and make everything look super fly. Instead, you've got a fucking burlap sack under your head and you're sleeping on some straw, which is totally going to stick to your black robe and make you look like an idiot. Like you're walking up the steps to Air Force One with some fucking toilet paper on your shoe.
Yeah. Anyway.
Come on.
Phoebe appears and she crouches down beside him and strokes his hair and tells him to wake up.
He wakes up, gets up, and yes, there is indeed straw clinging to the back of his robe, and asks what she's doing there. She says she came to bring him back.
And then he grabs her around the neck and says she made a huge mistake. And the way that he does this, where it looks like he's gonna, like, go in to kiss her, but instead he, chokes her. I mean, we don't kink shame, but
I mean, honestly, like, Phoebe doesn't look like she's not that into it. Like,
Yeah.
she looks a little bit into it.
a little bit.
But also, like, yeah. Was this Shannon's choice to have him do that?
Apparently, she is the director after all.
Well, that doesn't mean it was her idea. It could have been his.
I don't
Or
know.
it could have been, like, a DP
I don't know.
or something.
I don't know. We shall never know.
It could have been a writing call. I don't know.
That is true.
Anyway,
So we then cut to an exterior shot of a large building with many windows that pushes in past two very large satellite dishes and some trees. And then inside, we see our cameraman walking into a room full of people and handing a videotape to Elena. Now, this videotape is so primitive looking. Like, it looks like there's, like, no outside casing to it. And it is hilarious.
yeah.
Because it is just...
And that's a real thing that really existed.
Yep.
17 years ago.
Yeah.
Not even that long ago.
Yeah.
That tape can probably vote now.
Yeah. Anyway, so the news editor, who we will learn is named Dave, calls for quiet and then has the cameraman close the door and tells everyone to shut up and not repeat anything they hear or see in this room.
Yeah. Dave is played by Joe O'Connor, who's a total that guy.
Yeah, total that guy. He has 54 acting credits so far between 1979 and 2018, and I instantly recognized him as Marshall Darling, Clarissa's dad from the show Clarissa Explains It All. I'm going to link to that show, as well as a YouTube clip of the opening credits, because more people should know the insanity that was Clarissa Explains It All, starring Melissa Joan Hart, who, spoiler, well, not spoiler, but more fun fact, also played Sabrina Spellman in Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes.
Which they
is
are
now getting a reboot.
Which is now getting a reboot for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which is more based on the comic book, and I am so here for it.
I saw the trailer. It looked really cute.
Oh my god.
Cute and gory.
I have not watched Riverdale because I never really cared about Archie.
Yeah.
Archie comics was never really a big thing for me, but the fact that Sabrina the Teenage Witch is part of the Archie universe...
Oh my god, I did not know that.
Yeah, most people don't, and it's hilarious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but think about it this way, if you do watch Riverdale, imagine magic being also in that world.
Mm-hmm.
And just going, well, fuck. Because guess what? Now it's going to happen.
I also really liked the song they used for it. I forget what the song was, but it was like really cutesy, kind of like doo-wop, I want to say.
I don't know.
But it was across the entire trailer for the Netflix trailer. And it was even there when there was like a whole bunch of blood and witchcraft happening. And I'm just like, this is my thing. Like, this is my jam right here. Slightly gory shit, scary happening, but with a cutesy soundtrack.
Yes.
I love it.
Yep.
And
anyway, Clarissa Explains It All was one of those shows where I'm sure that if I went back and watched it now, I'd been like, why did I enjoy this so much? But it was the backbone of my like tween years. It was great.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Elena turns on the TV and plays the tape. We see it starts out on a nice close-up shot of her like doing a basic news report about fault lines in the neighborhood because they're in California. Mm-hmm. And then she and the cameraman hear like a whooshy noise. And then the cameraman points the camera and we see Prue and Piper across the street. First Prue throwing back the shockwave, and then Piper like throwing her hands in shacks blowing up. Mm-hmm. And then the camera goes back to Alana. I keep vacillating between Elena and Alana. It's whatever.
Yeah.
As Piper and Prue turn around and look straight
into the camera.
The camera.
Yeah. Like there is I do not understand, and other than a la convenience, how they did not see the huge camera. Because it's not just like tiny handheld cell phone.
It's not a camcorder. It's like old school news reporter giant camera that has to be large enough to hold multiple VHS tapes.
Yeah, so here's the thing. If you know...
And have a big honking light on it.
If you have a desktop computer, take a glance at the tower of your desktop computer. Now imagine that on your shoulder.
But sideways. Well, tilted forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's about how big this camera is. It is a very large camera.
And it's got a big-ass shiny lens.
Mm-hmm.
That thing has some zoom capability.
Yeah.
I know, because I've operated one of those. My dad used to have one.
I have also... Well, I have held one of those. They're heavy, too.
Yeah, they're like a good 10 pounds. Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah. So, Alana turns off the TV. And
everyone is like murmuring and like, what's going on behind them? There's like a table full of people in the room. Yeah.
Dave asks if the footage has hit the network feed, and the news director, who gets no name, she says no, but that someone that taped it will send it if they don't. So, that's a thing.
Yeah. And she's a total that woman. I recognized her instantly, though I did not know her name.
Right.
This is Margaret Easley, born in 1970 in Austin, Texas. She's got about 72 acting credits between 1997 and 2014, mostly single episodes of TV shows.
But you may know her as the voice of Minerva in the Assassin's Creed games.
And very relevant to my life, she played a character on Gilmore Girls in the episode The Hobbit, the Sofa, and Digger Styles, which is that one episode where Suki freaks out about having to make food for children. So that's season 4, episode 3. She was also, I don't remember the episode they're talking about, but she was in an episode of Buffy in season 4 called Pangs. She was someone called the Curator.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I just knew to write it down for you.
I don't remember that one either, so I don't really remember what happens. But I very, very do much remember the episode with Suki and the green mac and cheese and all of the children.
Yeah. So, some random reporter in the room mentions that they won't be able to control the revenues, which basically means they can't make money off it if they're not the ones that give it to the networks.
And Dave kind of shuts them up and tells them all to hold on, since they don't really even know what they've got.
Right. So the random reporter is, at least by my assumption, either played by Joe Torrenueva or by John Torbett. And the reason that I cannot tell you which actor played this character is because neither one has a picture on IMDb.
But both are listed for the episode.
Right. And Joe is credited as reporter number 1 and only has 14 acting credits between 1985 and 2010. And John is credited as reporter number 2 and has 7 acting credits between 1999 and 2006. Now, the funniest part is that Joe will actually be back in season 6, credited as reporter number 2.
That is hilarious.
So,
he got demoted.
Yeah, I doubt that I'll recognize him then, but I do think it's very funny that he'll be back in season 6.
You'll probably bring him up then, and they'll be like, hey, it's this guy.
Yeah. But I think it's very interesting, though, that there are supposedly reporter number 1 and reporter number 2, but only one reporter speaks.
It must have gotten cut.
Yeah,
maybe it was just someone else who was in the room.
Well, and
who they designated as a reporter, and he got billed for that time.
Yeah, The other person that I thought it could possibly be is on IMDb. The only other person with a picture who I cannot for the life of me tell you who it was is someone who is credited as lawyer, and the actor is Lee Spencer. But when I looked at the picture for Lee Spencer, I did not recognize him anywhere in this episode.
Lawyer?
Yeah.
Where the fuck did we see a lawyer?
Yeah, we didn't. That's my point. So unless he's somebody in the crowd later
Probably.
on, no idea who he is.
Dunno.
But yeah, it was one of those where like, I legit was like, I don't know who this person is supposed to be, but he's not one of the reporters because he actually has a picture and it doesn't look like either of these guys.
Nope.
So, I don't know.
Anyway, Ilana says that obviously what's on the tape has to be something supernatural. The news director, of course, thinks this is stupid and says that it could have been a military deal or a publicity stunt. And the cameraman's like, why would it be a publicity stunt for NASA? And Ilana reminds them the girls didn't even know they were there.
Which I think is funny because I believe then the news director's like, they could have been pretending not to know. It might be a hoax. And I just thought that was very funny. So
also, like, who would target
a random person in San Francisco?
Like, okay, so presumably the order this would have to happen in, if it were a hoax, is they would have to either have foreknowledge of the camera crew being there and the reporter, or they would have had to have gone there and seen them doing stuff. But this is a thing about fault lines. They're just getting some coverage of the neighborhood. They're not going to be there for more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Who can make a hoax that fast?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, NASA, for anyone who doesn't know, is short for the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, which started in July of 1958, and it is an independent agency of the United States federal government responsible for the civilian space program as opposed to the military space program, as well as aeronautics and aerospace research. I will link to the website, of course, because it's actually fascinating to learn about.
NASA's great.
Yeah.
And I've been to the Kennedy Space Center, and holy crap, they show you, like, one tread from the rocket walker, that's not the name of it, but that's what I'm calling it. It's the thing that just walks the rocket, like, out to the launch site, which is 3 miles away from the actual Space Center, because launch is loud.
Yeah.
But yeah, one tread from this, like, it looks like tank wheels, essentially. One tread is, like, fucking ginormous. It's as long as my house.
Yeah.
It's insane, and I love it.
Yep. He's very big.
Mm-hmm. Unlike the dog.
Yes.
Who is very small.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Don't worry, we'd never send you into space.
Nope.
No. Nope. No.
Anyway, Dave agrees that it might be a hoax, and he says that they need to authenticate it before they look like fools.
Ilana reminds him that 200,000 viewers have already seen it live, and he tells her to find out who the women are, but be careful, because they might not want to be found.
She smiles, and then she and the cameraman leave the room. And we cut to Prue and Piper back on that same patch of driveway with their jackets on again.
Yeah. Prue's crouching down, looking at the ground, picking up leaves. Probably leaves that Grayscale Fabio threw there. But stands up when she doesn't find anything.
Piper says that demons don't usually leave footprints.
Which feels like a line from a previous episode.
A little bit.
That it sounds like a repeat line.
It is
because my meme sense went off.
I don't think it is, though.
Well, no. My referential brain went, I've heard this before, and then just never followed through on looking for it.
Yeah. Prue reminds her that they do sometimes leave a residue once they've been vanquished, and that she doesn't understand how they could vanquish him without the spell.
Piper says she's more worried about Phoebe than Shax. Prue reminds her that Phoebe can take care of herself and Dr. Griffiths can't.
And they start walking toward the street, past a little girl who is standing in front of her house wearing a long-sleeve yellow shirt under denim overalls, holding a pink jump rope. It was absolutely adorable.
Little blonde girl.
Yeah. And as they're walking past this girl, Prue is saying that she's learned to trust her feelings since becoming a witch. She doesn't say it softly. The girl can definitely hear her.
Uh-huh.
And Piper, as they pass by this girl, says hi to her. And then the girl's mother, supposedly, apparently, whatever.
A random white blonde lady.
Yeah. grabs her, quickly pulls her inside, and tells her to stay away from them.
Yeah, and Piper kind of like looks back at this confused. Prue is paying zero attention.
Yeah,
and beckons her to not fall behind.
Yeah, and the girl and the mother have no credit on IMDb. I cannot tell you anything about either of them.
They're not important.
They're not even on there as uncredited. They're just not there at all.
They're probably family of some of the crew or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, we cut to Daryl at the police station as he brings in a handcuffed man and takes him over to a chair and makes him sit down.
Daryl is in a lovely light gray suit. I told you there was going to be a lot of gray in this.
So much gray.
The captain approaches Daryl. And so the captain is played by Tommy Redmond Hicks. He has 28 acting credits between 1981 and 2010, and he'll be back in an episode of season 4. And according to his IMDb, now he does not have a wiki, but according to his IMDb, he was born May 31st, 1962 in Tokyo, Japan, under the name Noriko Nagai. I have no other info on him, as he does not have a wiki page. He doesn't even have a picture on IMDb.
Is he Asian?
No, he's black.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even I might not have been looking at the screen at this point, so that's why I don't know what he looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's just one of those where it's like, okay, born in Japan with a Japanese name, this little black dude, which isn't a weird thing, but it's just like, why is there no other info? Why can I not find out about you? Why do you
I want to know what life this guy lived.
Yeah, like I want to know were you put up for adoption, and that's how you wound up being, Tommy Redmond Hicks in America?
Were you born to your parents in the military? And
yeah,
you were
there are
born
so
in
many
Japan
questions.
for that reason. But then why would you have a Japanese name when you were born? This is fascinating. I want to know more about this guy.
Exactly, and there is no more info that I could find.
I do have a friend who did live in Japan for a while because her dad was in the military.
Mm-hmm.
But she was not born there, and she doesn't have a Japanese name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There are so many questions.
I know there are American military bases in Japan, or at least there were.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are anymore.
Yeah. Anyway, the captain says that the quote-unquote freaky rumors about Daryl and the Halliwells might not have been rumors after all.
And then he points Daryl in the direction of the TV that is showing footage of Prue and Piper vanquishing Shax.
Yeah. We then cut to an adorable tiny TV in the kitchen at the manor, which shows breaking news from Channel 8, but the volume is so low that we barely hear what's being said.
Yeah, Piper is standing by the sink holding a kitchen towel as Prue walks in, on the phone, trying to get in touch with Dr. Griffiths.
And they both have their jackets off again.
Yeah. Apparently, the doctor is in surgery, so they assume that Shax won't attack there and he'll be safe. I don't know why they're assuming this, but oh well.
Mm-hmm.
Prue wants to go to him, but Piper says that they should wait for Leo and see what he's found out, since they may need the power of 3 to vanquish Shax.
The phone then rings, and Prue thinks that it might be the doctor, so she answers it quickly.
But it is Daryl.
Yeah, who is apparently talking super fast at her.
Yeah, we cut back and forth between the manor and the police station during the phone call.
As Daryl asks if they've seen the TV, Prue basically says no. Daryl tells her to turn it on, and Piper and Prue see the footage on the TV of them vanquishing Shax. And Daryl's like, I told the captain that I'd handle it.
And the facial expressions that Piper is making.
Yeah,
they're great.
They're great. The footage on the TV then changes to Elena and her cameraman in the car as they approach the manor, and Prue
drops the phone
and covers her mouth in shock, and it clatters to the counter with such a loud sound that it was not Foley, it was actual sound.
Yeah, and I'm just super impressed that she managed to get it to clatter to the counter and not the floor.
Yeah,
because that would have broken it. Granted, it's a prop phone, so it's probably not actually working, but it would have broken it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain times, certain ways props can break, make them completely unusable. My favorite blooper from Parks and Rec, when Andy, throws the briefcase and it hits the light switch and demolishes it and all the lights turn off.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit.
And they get to the end, they all just keep going, and then they get to the end of the clip and they're like, that wasn't a prop. Like, he actually, like, ruined the light switch in this room, because this was not a stage. This was an office.
Yeah. Well, it ended up being an outtake because the lights turned off. But,
Yeah.
like, if the lights hadn't turned off and he just smashed the light switch, they probably would have kept going.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, man. But, yeah.
Anyway, we then cut to the TV where Elena is now standing in front of the manor on the street sidewalk area, naming all 3 girls by name and telling the audience that they're going to meet them live. Piper's like, what are we going to do? And we go to commercial break.
Oh, my God. This screams to me of bad journalistic ethics.
Oh my God. I wanted to hit her.
Verify.
Like,
how do you
kidding me?
verify that? Like, you've got to fucking knock on the door first. Like, come on. Plus, they're watching your broadcast. Then they know that you're coming. Like, this is not stealth, lady.
No.
Also, like, why would you name them?
Yeah.
That's just stupid. That's so mean.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, we've found their house. And, like, don't show the number. Just, like, set up right in front of the door and ring the doorbell. And they open the door and you're like, hey, it's you. Blah, blah, blah. Like, don't name them.
Yeah. And they showed the house, like, in full view.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many ethical
Which, if
issues.
that house were actually in San Francisco, would be a problem.
Yeah. There's so many ethical issues that
And strategic.
this, like, you are not Publishers Clearing House, all right? Like, ambushing people at their door is not fun.
No.
Anyway, when we come back from our commercial break, we are outside the manor, where there are now dozens of cameramen and reporters and seemingly random people standing on the sidewalk, and we see 2 vans parked on the street. One is a news van with a huge antenna on the top, and it's the news van for Channel 8, and it is parked nicely on the street like you would actually park a van.
Yeah.
The other is parked at an angle.
It's like an old style VW van.
Yeah, with has like decals of like stars and comets and like pinks and purples, and it's very hippie van.
Yeah.
But it is parked at an angle toward the house. This is not a street where diagonal parking is a thing.
No.
And this car is diagonally parked.
Yep. Which does not surprise me once we see the owner of said van.
True. We'll get there.
Yeah, anyway.
Daryl then pulls up his car facing the news van, like angles that at a diagonal. He is now blocking the rest of the street. He gets out of the car, and reporters race over to him, and they're asking if he's going to arrest them, if he considers them dangerous.
And he keeps repeating, no comment, no comment, no comment to everyone, and they don't stop asking questions.
Yeah.
He heads for the stairs, reporters follow, and as he is, like, walking up the stairs, we can see he's on the phone.
Mm-hmm. And we see Elena and a woman that we will learn is named Alice.
Who is the owner of said van.
Yeah, said hippie van, because she is very much hippie-dippy.
Yeah, very
with the
hippie-dippy.
teeny tiny little purse.
Teeny tiny little purse. She's got like some kind of paisley button down thing going on. Yeah. That reminded me of that one
like bell bottom jeans with patches.
That reminded me of that one shirt that was like Prue's favorite shirt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit.
The one that the stalker took.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then like her hair is pretty much shoulder length, like very thin blonde, and she's got like a
little
couple of braids just like hanging out all over it.
Yeah.
And oh god, she's so annoying.
Yeah. So I might as well tell you about her now, since we will find out that her name is Alice, and I have a little thing. So, the actress is Mariana Elliott. She only has 15 acting credits between 1992 and 2005, but I just want it to be known that she had a role in the 1997 TV movie Alien Nation: The Udara Legacy, where she played the character of Clairvoyant. I just needed people to know that. Because...
oh, yeah, that's bad.
Yeah. So, if anyone hasn't seen Alien Nation, it was a TV show that aired for a single season from 1989 to 1990, and it spawned 5 TV movies.
And somehow I've heard none of this.
Oh, Oh, we will change that. Mariana was in the 5th of the movies. I'm going to link to the IMDb for the TV show because it seems to be like that the episodes of this seems to be the episode of Charm Chats where I want people to know what shows I watched in my tween and teen years.
And see, this is very easy for me because I watched this in my tween years.
Yeah. So, but yeah, if you have not seen Alien Nation, my dear, I own it on DVD. I will.
Oh man.
I bought it from my father as a Father's Day gift a few years back. I will borrow it from him to let you borrow it because Alien Nation is nuts.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And I love it. Anyway,
Alice is like kind of jumping up and down, like waving her arms and saying that she can help. She's also a witch, but everyone literally
ignores her.
Everyone ignores her.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, she's acting like an overexcited 12-year-old.
Oh God, they're yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, Daryl approaches the door, tells Prue he's there through the phone, and Alana asks if he wants to make a statement. Prue opens the door. He repeats, no comment, right in Alana's face.
Mm-hmm. She then starts to ask Prue something. Prue tells her to back off. Daryl goes inside, and Prue shuts the door.
We cut to inside as Piper walks in the foyer, asking if they're being illegal and if he can do something about that.
Daryl says that killing someone on live TV is illegal, and Prue's like, it wasn't someone, it was a demon, and we're pretty sure we didn't actually kill him. And
Daryl doesn't
like,
think the reporters will buy that.
Yeah.
So he's called for backup, but it won't help for long.
Piper laments following Shax into the street. Prue says they didn't have a choice, which Piper isn't so sure about. And Prue's like, yeah, well, we could have let him kill our innocent instead. She then tries to stop the fight before it gets worse because they have enough problems. And Daryl says that they have more problems than they know because the captain wants them to come in for questioning.
Prue wants to know if they're supposed to tell him the truth. Daryl asks what they're going to tell the reporters. And then his phone rings and he goes into the other room to take the call and we hear him say that it is the captain.
Yep. Prue quips that Phoebe can come save them when she's done saving Cole, and then Leo orbs in.
Piper asks where he's been. He says that their predicament is pretty big news up there, and that he's been trying to figure out how to get them out of it, but that they're still working on it. Piper is, of course, annoyed by them taking their time. Leo says that they're not the ones who screwed up, and Piper gets rightfully pissy because they've been busting their Wiccan butts for 3 years without getting caught and want credit for that.
I just love that she used the phrase Wiccan butts. I don't know why, but it made me giggle.
Yeah.
Just the phrase Wiccan butts coming out of Piper's mouth is just one of the most adorably funny things. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Leo says that they've been exposed and they need to fix it or it could undermine all the good they've already done as well as all the good that they're still destined to do.
Nah, cheesy. Piper says that this may be their destiny. Leo's like, you can't really believe that. Prue's like, oh, I don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And then reminds them that this year has been full of tests, so this has to be just one more test.
She says that they still have to work out what to do, while the elders figure their shit out. And that they have to get to Dr. Griffiths before he gets out of surgery, before Shax gets to him.
Well, not before he gets out of surgery. When he gets out of surgery.
Yeah. She turns to Leo to make sure that he doesn't know something that they don't know. And he's like, well, I know that you're going to need all three of you to say the spell.
Sure. Prue says that they only have the two of them. Leo starts to ask something, but she stops him and asks him to orb them to the hospital. And apparently he's been put on orbing lockdown a little bit. The elders won't want to let him take them anywhere for fear of exposing white lighters too.
Piper calls them cowards, which I thought was great.
And at this point, Daryl comes back in.
Prue says that they'll save him without their help. Daryl reminds her that saving their innocent doesn't save them. And she's like, just buy some time with the captain. And tells Leo
to go back up and white light a fire underneath his boss's butts.
Which was also a great line. And then she and Piper head for the back door.
We cut outside to where Alana is talking into the camera about not knowing about arrests happening.
Alice sees Prue and Piper coming down their driveway and tries to get their attention. They don't see her or they ignore her, whatever, as they run to Prue's car and quickly get into it. And this is not the green SUV that is Piper's car. This is the black SUV that is Prue's car.
Uh-huh.
Just putting that out there.
Anyway, Alana races over to them, tries to ask them questions, with Alice jumping up and down while waving her arms and asking them to take her with them as they drive off.
And it's really funny because she does like the jump up and down thing, and then as they drive off, we just see her kind of do that like, aw, shucks, kind of like.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, really?
This woman has no life.
What the? Oh my God.
This woman has been rejected by everyone else in her life. This is the only reason why she is here.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We cut back down into the underworld cave with Cole and Phoebe, and Phoebe kicks Cole, he falls into the straw, and we're going to fast track this a bit.
Yeah. They're talking about not being able to be together because he killed a witch, and she's like, you got a second chance. You didn't do it willingly. So Cole goes up and again grabs Phoebe around the neck.
He tells her that she can't save him. She reaches into her bag, pulls out the potion, and smashes the vial of potion onto his back.
And it looks real interesting.
We see smoke coming out of the back of his robe as he staggers back.
Yeah.
And it's hilariously funny because when she smashes it, you can see little bits of straw clinging to his back. And when the smoke happens, the straw falls off.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was like the power of whatever smoke machine they had blew the straw off his back.
Yeah, this is a really good little practical effect.
Oh, it was great.
I enjoyed it. Anyway, he reaches out towards her as if to grab her neck again, and then they kiss.
Yeah. She says they should go back to her place. He says they'll just come back looking for him again. She's like, we'll fight them off.
Yeah, he's like, we can't do this forever. We already tried that. It didn't work. So where are we? She asks. Right here.
Yep, they're kind of stuck in the cave.
Yep. I mean, like, he could at least take her upstairs as a courtesy.
Yeah.
I say upstairs. Yeah. The underworld is downstairs.
Hey, you know.
In some cases, it is very literally downstairs. I mean, the Woogie's downstairs, so.
Not anymore.
Oh, true.
Not anymore. Anyway, we cut inside a hospital as Dr. Griffiths comes out of a room and throws a surgeon cap in a hamper, and he's now in blue scrubs, no white coat.
He walks over to the reception desk, where the receptionist hands him a phone. Prue and Piper race up to him. Prue takes the phone, hangs it up, and says, he's still after you, and then they pull him off.
Yeah.
And by pull him off, I mean pull him away from the desk.
Yeah. We cut to outside as they're leaving the hospital, which is, I believe it was San Francisco Memorial.
Yeah.
That's what the sign said. And they head for Prue's car. They tell him that they're taking him somewhere safe, and they start to get in the car as Elena and her cameraman pull up in their van nearby.
Yeah. A strong wind pushes Dr. Griffiths out of the car, and he falls on the grass.
And we hear glass breaking, but we don't actually see any glass breaking.
Yeah.
But we hear it.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there for Mo.
Yeah. Anyway.
We hear a woman screaming, and then the wind turns into Shax. Prue and Piper get out of their car as the news crew looks on.
And the girls say the vanquishing spell. Shax blows up and disappears. And this one feels like more final than the other two.
Yeah, the people around them, watching this gasp and let out little screams. Piper seems pleased with this vanquish.
And then the people around them start to clap and cheer. And I'm like, y'all haven't moved at all.
Yeah.
Like, weird windy boy swirls on the fuck in.
Yep.
And attacks a man, and you're not like,
freaking out?
Booking it.
Yeah. Nope.
No, they literally didn't move. They were maybe 5 feet away from all of this.
Yep. So Prue and Piper look around, and this time they notice Elena and her cameraman filming them. And Elena has this huge grin on her face, and they realize they're in big trouble. And we go to commercial break.
And again, with Piper's ridiculously delightful facial expressions.
Yeah.
I love it.
11.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
It was great.
Yeah. Anyway, we come back from commercial break, and we are outside the manor again.
And there's now a ton more people.
In addition to all of the reporters and Little Miss Hippy Dippy, we have added the stereotypical, like, alien invasion crowd. It's It's real funny to me.
Yeah.
We have a bunch of like picket signs like the end is near.
Which kind of reminded me of the episode where they had the witch trials in the future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Except these are much more colorful signs because we don't live in a dystopian future in that.
Yeah.
But like there are people wearing really funky glasses. There are people in costumes.
Well, okay, so have a second. So like I said, people are holding cardboard signs. There's like dozens of cameramen, reporters, whatever. There's somebody with the sign that says the end is near. There's one that says repent. There's one that says lead us. I think there's one that says take me with you. That sort of thing. There is a guy who is dressed up like an alien.
He's spangly, silver head,
silver, spangly, big earrings, whatever. He is on IMDb as uncredited. His name is Bill Blair. He has 89 acting credits so far, dating back to 1984. He is still going strong, although most of his roles are as uncredited. I think is very interesting, and I know for a fact that it's missing at least a few things. I will get to that in a moment. I bring him up even though he's uncredited because he is a Guinness World Record holder. The record was set on May 6th, 2011, and it is in the category of most special effect makeup characters portrayed in a career, which he has set this record at 202.
That's impressive.
It is impressive. The record has yet to be challenged. Mind you that it was 2011. He only has 89 acting credits.
On IMDb.
All as uncredited with that record of 202. Now, to put this into perspective, Doug Jones, my beloved Doug Jones.
Our beloved Doug Jones.
Has 164 acting credits so far since 1988. And I don't know if he could beat the record of 202, but to be fair, he probably hasn't applied for consideration because you have to actually apply to be a world record holder. You can't, they don't come to you. You have to go to them and say, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to link to the application page for Guinness because, why not? If you decide to apply for something, let us know what record you want to hold. That'd be awesome.
I could probably get the record for world's longest clover chain.
Okay.
Because I once made one that literally went around my old house like 3 times.
The problem with that, though, is that you would have had to have had documentation
I know.
from the entire thing.
But the thing is, I could still do this. Like, it wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
And, like, no one does world's longest clover chain. I think someone probably did, like, world's longest daisy chain or whatever the fuck.
I don't know.
But, yeah. I probably could have done that. Except, like, they dry out so quick. I remember getting in trouble on a trip to D.C. because I kept making clover chains. And then everyone else started making clover chains. They're like, y'all gotta stop doing that. It was 8th grade. But yeah, Doug has also done a fair amount of, like, not special effect work.
Right. Well, and here's the other thing. Is like
so some of those 164 acting credits are probably just, like, not special effect.
Right. And like I said, the thing about Bill Blair, and the reason that I know for a fact that he's not, even though most of his stuff is uncredited, there is some stuff that's missing because his first gig, where he was an alien in special effects makeup, was on the TV show Alien Nation.
It all
comes full circle. So that's why I know that he doesn't have all of his credits on IMDb, and I think it's slightly sad that most of his credits on IMDb are as uncredited.
Someone from production must have known about that show and liked it enough to get both him and, what was her face?
Marianne.
On this.
Or Mariana, or whatever.
Not
necessarily, but
Mariana Trench.
No.
I know.
Anyway, though, as for the Guinness World Records thing, I recommend doing a random search to see what records are out there, because there is some weird and funny shit. The one that made me laugh as I was just randomly searching things was a record which was set on February 13th, 2018.
This year.
At 3 minutes and 21 seconds by Cody Jones for the Dude Perfect YouTube channel, for the fastest time to find and alphabetize the letters in a can of alphabet soup. Now, though I did look up their channel, and there doesn't seem to be a video for it on the Dude Perfect YouTube channel, but according to the Guinness World Records page, it was a world record attempt for their YouTube channel. So it might show up eventually.
Maybe. That's hilarious.
Yeah. I thought that was great. And I was like, this is weird. I wonder what else is here. And so then I went on a little rabbit hole there. But it is fascinating. You just literally just put in a keyword search and see what comes up. There's all sorts of random stuff on there.
Yeah, I used to have all of the Guinness Book of World Record, like, books. Mm-hmm. I think I got rid of those. Because we used to get them, like, for Christmas every year. And so we had, like, a good 10 of them by the time I think we stopped doing that shit. But yeah, it's fun crap.
It is. It is fascinating to see what's out there. And the fact that you have to apply for it is also, like...
Yeah, there's shit like longest fingernails. There's crap like... there's a condition where you can kind of pop your eyes out of your head a little bit.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, but like for this distance for that to happen, that's in there.
Yep.
There's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Of course, like tallest man, tallest living man, tallest
oldest
horse,
man, like
oldest living
person.
dog, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. But again, it's the weirdest part about it is that I know that there are guidelines that have to be followed for that, but you have to apply and then they'll let you know what guidelines need to be followed for that specific thing.
Right.
Because everything has different guidelines. But I know that I have actually known someone who did apply for a thing. And one of the guidelines that they were given is that it has to be something that someone else can possibly repeat. Mm-hmm. Because the whole point is that if it's, if you do it as something that is so
incredibly
niche that nobody else can redo it, then they probably, not necessarily definitely, but probably won't let you have it because nobody has the ability to then challenge that record.
Yeah.
So there is little guidance, things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the show.
Yeah.
We get a helicopter flying above as police are trying to get the crowd under control, and we see Alice standing on top of her van, yelling that she's the only one who understands them, and she's trying to get their attention
from all the way
by
over
yelling
by the street
at the house from the top of her van in the street. And we cut inside to the girls who are in the kitchen, who wouldn't be able to hear her even if she was yelling from the front door.
Yeah, it's not to mention, like, the way that the house is arranged, like, her standing on top of her van is actually a little lower than if she were just standing on the sidewalk in front of the house. Like, not like by the street, but like on
like in the front door.
On the landing before, not even at the front door, but like, if you're standing on the landing down that first set of stairs, like, there's the stairs and then there's a bit of walkway and then stairs down to the street. If you're just standing on the walkway in front of the house, she would have been higher than if she was standing on her van. Which is, that's about even with their front lawn, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, if she was standing on the lawn, she would have been higher up than if she'd been than being on the car.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so we cut to Prue and Piper in the kitchen, and Piper is looking through sheets of paper that have come through their fax machine.
Remember fax machines, guys?
Yeah.
You can still fax.
Yeah, we've mentioned this before.
I believe I'm calling it a fun technique, but like if there's an organization that's like I think this has been used against white supremacy groups or whatever, you can set up a Mobius fax where you get some black pages of construction paper, make them into a loop, twist it once and like retape it so you make a Mobius strip, and you can fax them an unending sheet of black which will deplete their printer, and then they can't like print anything. So like if you sent this to Westboro Baptist Church, they would lose all of their printer ink super fast.
Interesting.
And then they wouldn't be able to print anything.
Very, very interesting.
I know. It's so ingenious. I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, Daryl walks in and he's speaking into a police radio to the cops outside, telling them to get the crowd under control and behind the tape.
Prue doesn't understand how they found them at the hospital since they weren't followed from the house, and Daryl, sitting on the stool in the kitchen, kind of winks at him and he says that the reporter probably low-jacked the car.
So LoJack is a stolen vehicle recovery system that was created and patented in 1979 by a man named William Regan and was named as a play on the word hijack.
Yeah.
Because when you hijack a car, you steal the car, so LoJack the car, and you can find the car.
Yeah.
It was a cute play on words.
Yeah.
I will link to the wiki on the website.
Anyway, Prue hopes Phoebe is doing better down there than they are up here, and Piper mentions all of the interview requests that they're getting.
I'm going to give you a quick rundown, and I will put links to everything on the website. They get one from Ted Koppel, who is a British-born American broadcast journalist, born in 1940.
Time Magazine, which is an American weekly news magazine founded in 1923.
Jerry Springer, a British-born American TV presenter, former lawyer, politician, news presenter, actor, and musician, born in 1944, and his life is fascinating, let me tell you.
And the final one that they list right there is Sports Illustrated, which is an American sports magazine first published in 1954 and has produced an annual swimsuit issue since 1964.
And
which,
speaking of,
when Piper expresses confusion about Sports Illustrated, Daryl mentions, yeah, they probably want you for the swimsuit edition.
They both give him a dirty look, which I thought was great. Prue then wonders where Leo is, and then sees Dr. Griffiths on the TV, points him out to Piper, and turns up the volume. And we see that he is in his scrubs and his white coat.
And a really bad toupee.
With his foot up on an ambulance, talking to the camera. And the overlay says, quote, rescued by witches. And he's talking about the girls needing a vanquishing spell and then going to get some witch-type book.
Like, when we say
to kill the demon.
His foot is up, we're talking like
Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Captain Morgan pose.
Yeah.
Where he's just kind of, or like the William T. Riker pose. It's just like,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is
oh my
most
God,
definitely...
He's trying so hard. Which is obviously encapsulated by the fact that he has a toupee.
Yeah.
He has a toupee. Who has toupees anymore? I mean, granted, this was 17 years ago, but still.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. You're a fucking surgeon. Like, you have all of the accolades, probably, that you could want. Hell, demons want to kill you because you're such a good guy. And you've got a toupee.
Hey, you know.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the demons were just like, hey, there's gonna be hell to pay.
Piper is pissed about him not keeping their secret. And
Prue
then
changes the channel and a woman shows up.
And this woman is talking about Prue casting a spell to make her boyfriend break up with her. And we learn that this woman is Susie Johnson from 10th grade.
Piper jokes that she always wondered why they broke up, and Prue kind of like hits her arm and she's like, that's not funny.
Though it was.
It was funny.
It was funny. Susie Johnson is credited as female classmate on IMDb, which I thought was kind of funny. And she is played by Rebecca Nanfria, and that's Rebecca with a K.
Yeah.
Now, all of her acting credits, all of 13 acting credits, is all she's got between 1998 and 2004. She has no picture, but all of her acting credits are under the name Rebecca Louise Smith. So
Married
apparently she either got married or divorced. I don't know which.
Or both.
But her IMDb name now is not the same as it was when she was acting. She apparently hasn't done any acting in quite a while.
Yeah. Anyway, Prue and Piper walk through the dining room into the wicker room. Prue yells out for Leo, and he finally orbs in.
She says that the media is turning this into a circus, and they need to end it. And she's still carrying the remote for the kitchen TV, which I thought it was hilarious. I don't know why, but it just struck me so funny.
Yeah.
Just random walking through the house with a remote, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, Piper asks Leo if the elders have a solution. He says that the only thing they could come up with is a pretty long shot. They apparently have to try and contact Tempest.
Prue and Piper exchange looks, confused that the elders want them to contact a demon, and Leo says that he's the only one who has the power to manipulate time and reset everything.
Piper's like, we vanquished him. Leo says, no, you just defeated him. The hard part will be contacting him, because he's an upper-level demon who is well insulated.
Piper wants to know why Tempest would even want to help them, since they're basically powerless at the moment. And then Alice bursts through the conservatory door. Now, I would like to mention that we don't know how long it has been since the last episode, but all of the doors and windows are already fixed with their perfect stained glass again.
Yes.
So it's been at least that long.
Yeah. But anyway, like,
Alice,
she just kind of pops through them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like she broke anything. She just kind of
Shoulder checks
the door and it opens. And she's very excited
She's
having
like,
made
"I
it in the
made
house.
it."
Yeah. Piper asks who the hell she is, and she introduced herself as Alice Hicks and asked to join their coven.
And, okay, so I gotta give credit to Marianne for putting on this vocal affectation that she does the entire episode, because it is appropriately whiny and valley, like a little bit Valley Girl, like there's a little bit of that.
A little bit.
Because she like, her vocal peaks and troughs are all over the fucking place. And she just sounds like she's an adolescent. Like, she never fucking matured. Like, she should actually be a teenager.
Yeah.
But Prue calls her nuts, says, "This is our home," yells at her to get out, and then uses her power on the girl, and she flings outside, and we hear her go, "Ow!"
And then the doors close behind her.
Yeah.
So Prue not only uses her power to fling this girl outside, but to carefully close the conservatory doors.
Daryl runs in, wielding a gun, talking on the radio, telling the other cops to stay
back,
and then stops the confusion, and Prue and Piper just stare at him.
No, Piper wasn't staring. Piper was covering her face with paper.
Oh, yeah.
She was holding up the faxes in front of her face.
Prue just stares at Daryl with this completely nonplussed expression.
And he's like, "You okay?" And she goes, "Yeah, we're fine, Daryl."
Yeah. She kind of rolls her eyes.
Yeah.
It's really adorable.
She then tells Leo that this has to end or their lives are over.
And we cut outside to Alice walking down the driveway. So she, like, cut around the back of the house now.
Yeah, because the conservatory is on the right-hand side of the house. The driveway is on the left-hand side of the house.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she's looking super depressed.
Yeah. Alana sees her and asks what happens, and we hear an elderly man in the crowd asking if they thought she was a demon.
Alana asks if they thought she was a joke.
And
Alice kind
says,
of mumbles,
"They're mean witches,"
and wipes a tear off her face and walks away.
Now,
again.
To be fair to the girls, she did burst into their home.
Yeah.
So, like, them being mean witches, I'm sorry, you literally just burst into their house and expected them to welcome you with open arms? How delusional are you?
No, Temba, his arms shut.
Yeah. Anyway, cut back inside.
Yeah, she's got all of the hallmark affectations of a person who
is not mentally stable.
Is not mentally stable and is acting like a literal child.
Yes.
Anyway, we cut to inside. Piper wonders how they can contact Tempest. Prue says, "Oh, Cole can do that." Piper's like, "Well, why would he help us?" Prue says that helping him helps Phoebe.
She asks Leo if he can orb down there. He's like, "Yeah, I can, but then, I wouldn't be able to find her until I'm down there because I can't track her from up here."
Prue says he should hurry, but he's hesitating because they won't be able to contact him while he's down there.
Piper then asks the stupid question, "What more trouble could we possibly get into?" and says that everything will be fine once time resets. Tells him to go and to be careful. And they kiss, and he orbs out in the middle of the kiss.
And she kind of, like, lets her arm down and slaps her side, like, meh.
Yeah, like, I hate when he does that.
And then she turns to Prue and asks if they want to go on Oprah or Barbara. And when Prue smiles, says they'll go with Oprah because Barbara makes you cry.
Oprah is, of course, Oprah Winfrey. I believe I mentioned her back in episode 307,
Probably.
I think it was. I'm going to link to her anyway, just because.
You get an IMDb link. You get an IMDb link.
Exactly. Barbara is Barbara Walters. She is an American broadcast journalist, author, and TV personality. She was born in 1929, and her life is fairly fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
They're, like, just reading about her original stint on the Today Show and all of the shit that she had to put up with to be on the Today Show.
Yeah.
Like, there was one of, small tangent, there was one of the people that she worked with, I can't remember his name because I don't think he deserves to be his name remembered, but that's just me, where, because he was working with her, that he didn't like the fact that he was working with her, and would only work with her if he got to ask the first 3 questions.
Petty AF.
Yeah. This was, the 70s. I get the logic there because, whatever. But yeah, there is so much.
Mm-hmm.
I will link to her wiki on the website, of course. But yeah, her life is fairly fascinating and you should totally read about it because it is nuts.
Yeah. Anyway, back in the downstairs, Phoebe's standing around as Cole walks in from another part of the cave.
He says that he has to get her out of there because something big is happening and it's important enough for the source to have come.
And she freaks out a little bit at that last bit and starts looking around like he's in the room.
Yeah.
And then Leo orbs in.
Phoebe is confused and Cole seems pissed at his presence.
Leo explains that they've been exposed as witches and that they need Cole to get Tempest to reverse time, and it has to be done pretty fucking quick.
Cole says that he doesn't have the power to summon Tempest. Phoebe mentions that he, knows someone who does, and Cole laughs at the idea of getting the source to help witches.
Leo's like, well, the demonic world has been exposed as well, which is probably why the source is here. Resetting time solves everyone's problems. You should pitch it to them like it's your idea to save the source and not the witches, even if that's not why you're doing it.
And then after a beat of silence, Cole says it's suicide. But we time jump to Cole walking into another cave, and a demon guard dude stands in front of him. Now, looking at IMDb, I am assuming that this actor is Milo Ironbear.
That's a great name.
Yeah. He is there as uncredited under the character name Evil Demon. He was born in 1965 in Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and his IMDb is quite interesting, as he has 36 acting credits between 1989 and 2016, nearly all of which is also listed as uncredited, just like Bill.
Okay, so Milo Ironbear, born in North Dakota. He might be Native American.
Yes, I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, North Dakota's going through some shit with that right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love him in this, and I love his outfit because it looks like it's like leather, but it's vaguely conquistador-y shaped. Like the breastplate has like the point at the front, so that like the sword tip like glances off down the side instead of being like directed inward or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Yeah, he's got his like dreadlocks.
Yeah, and there's like two guys flanking him who are both in just like super generic fucking black robes.
Yep.
Those nice velvet black robes that I kind of want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They stare at each other for a moment, and then he steps aside, and Cole pulls the hood from his robe over his head and walks in.
Not even fully over his head. He pulls it like to an
his
inch
ears.
behind. He covers his ears,
Yeah.
which then makes his forehead look super wide.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, man.
He stops when he reaches a dark place with a reddish glow, and we see the source standing nearby.
And there's like some fucking dead tree, and there's fire.
Yeah. The source is wearing a red robe with a red hood covering his head, and we can't see his face. There's just a big black void where his face should be.
Yeah.
And there are large red feathery wings. Let's try that again. He has large red feathery wings attached to his back, and he's wielding a sword, and the wings have like a little bit glittery in them. It was kind of funny.
And he's got like some armor, some like leather scaly armor on his shoulders specifically over top of the robe.
Yep.
Want to guess who plays him?
Yep. It's our super versatile Michael Bailey Smith.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't believe he plays the source again after
I don't think
this,
he does either.
But in this first iteration where we do not see the source's face, it is Michael Bailey Smith.
Yeah. I got really excited when I was like, oh, he's going to go see the source. Is it going to be the source we know from like season 4 and stuff? And no. No. Alas. Yeah, they, this is kind of one of those, this is kind of like that bit where they had the triad or whatever, or the council or some shit, where like they had them in the last episode of season 2 or something, and then it was completely different guys.
Yep.
The next episode.
Yep.
Like, come on.
Yep. I know.
Have some just continuity, but this show is not known for its continuity.
Nope.
Anyway, Cole walks up in front of this pit that just shoots some fire up.
Yep.
Just because, for aesthetics. And there's, in the background, it kind of almost looks like sky in the background. Like, there's red sky, and there's some rocks, and there's, a dead tree.
Yep.
Like, suddenly he's come above ground, but like in the underworld above ground. So like, you know, it's not a basement quite. It's more like a landing before you get to the first floor in terms of downstairs.
Yeah. Anyway, Cole kneels down, removes his hood, and he says that he's heard rumors of them being exposed and that he may have the solution in using Tempest's power.
And the source, with a much more strongly altered voice, like it's all undertone. They took all of the treble out of this bitch and they just like beefed it up underneath, like added a couple of layers on top. Well, on top, but like added a couple of layers to this.
Yep,
so it's
they're
very deep.
Yep, they all about that bass.
Oh my god, no trouble. Anyway, he says that Tempest is still weak from the last time he used his power 2 years ago, so using them again will destroy him. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Cole asks what other choice there is, and he is met with silence.
He asks for forgiveness, and the source is like, I'm never gonna forgive that shit, and rests the tip of his sword.
Why would I forgive your betrayal?
It
rawr,
looked,
rawr, rawr.
It didn't look like it was quite on his shoulder to me. It looked like it was hanging in front of his clavicle. Because that's threatening. Like, laying it on your shoulder is not that threatening, but it looked like it was, clavicle.
Yeah,
The clavicle goes across the shoulders, so, like, it was hanging in front of him, is what I'm saying.
That was in the transcript.
Okay. Well, that's not where it was.
That's fine.
So.
That's all right. Anyway,
the source says he knows everything about Balthazar, and that Tempest will reverse time if Phoebe crosses over and joins them. And we get a little shot with, like, his hand in it, where he's, like, I don't know if it's, like, just been painted red or something, but he's got, like, nice long black nails on it. It looks real cool.
Yeah, super nice.
Anyway, Cole's like, she'd never do that. And the source asks if she'd do it to save one of her sister's lives.
Cole asks if one of them has been killed, and the source just replies, wait. So ominous.
I know.
I loved that. Like, out of all of the everything in this episode, I think that was my favorite moment, where it's like,
that was
like, she'd do it to save one of her sisters. Did one of them die? Just wait.
That is big dick energy right there.
That's
so BDE.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, we cut back to the manor. We see all of the people still outside yelling and holding up signs. The dude who's holding up the "Take Me With You" sign has, like, a weird, like, dot, like, circle-y painted on his forehead, like, right below his hairline.
Yeah.
Weird. It's a bunch of weird people. This crowd is giving me, like, Contact flashbacks. And by that I mean the movie, not I have touched them and I am getting flashbacks from touching them, because that's a Phoebe thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it feels like the crowd from Contact. With, like, all of the weirdos dressed as aliens and shit in the trailer park by, like, the satellites and whatever the fuck. Good movie.
I have not seen it.
Ooh, we need to get you to watch that. It's fun.
All
Based
right.
off of a book by Carl Sagan.
Oh, well, alrighty then. I'll add it to the list.
Anyway.
Prue and Piper are in the conservatory. They're placing the cafe table in front of the door, which I think is hilariously funny.
Piper doesn't understand why they're doing that.
But
Prue's like,
Prue, as she's putting a chair against the door, is like, well, it's in case time doesn't reset itself.
Yeah, and Piper's like, sweetie, this table against that door is not going to do much.
But Prue tells her to start thinking what would work in case Leo doesn't succeed.
They walk over into the living room, Prue picking up the Book of Shadows on the way, and this entire next scene is in ADR. Well, not the entire, but, like,
most of it is.
Once they start walking, their dialogue turns into ADR for some fucking reason. Like, it wasn't when they were placing the table,
right?
But then they start moving, and it is. And then, like, right after they stop moving, it's not anymore. Like, the audio change is very obvious if you can hear that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just weird to me because, like, why would it need to be overdubbed? All of the noise happening outside is in post.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just strange.
I don't know.
But anyway.
But so Prue has picked up the Book of Shadows and is cradling it to her chest like a child, like a toddler.
Yeah, she's wondering what they're going to do now. Piper's like, oh, we'll do talk shows, book signings, movie deals, and then get taken by the CIA and dissected.
Prue asks how she can joke, and Piper's like, who's joking? And Prue says that she's scared and that Piper should be too. And she says that their entire future and destiny could be wiped out in the snap of a finger, which she does to emphasize the point.
And then we hear a gunshot go off, and we see Piper twitch, like full body twitch.
Piper gasps and looks down, and we cut to seeing a lot of blood on her shirt, as well as on her hands, like on the tops of her hands, where there is no reason for the blood to be, other than to make this look super gross and gory.
Yeah.
Because if she had actually been touching her stomach, where this, bout of blood is, it would all be on the palms of her hands. But it's not. It's on the backs of her hands, and looks like it's coming out from underneath her shirt.
Probably because it is, because that's how they did that.
Yeah, there is...
Whatever.
It's kind of like she had been standing with her hands in fists on her stomach, and then they squirted blood out from the sleeves of her shirt to cover the tops of her hands to get it on the top of the shirt. Like, that's literally how it looks, is that the blood started at her wrists,
Gosh,
went
you wouldn't
down
have
her
needed
hands.
to do that.
Like, it was just weird.
You wouldn't have needed to do that, like, because it's not even in frame when the gunshot goes off.
Exactly.
And the camera cuts away anyway, so you would just have to, like, have a very thin-walled blood packet that you just slap.
Yeah. Like, there are so many different things that should have happened.
Like seals slap themselves. Just slap.
Yeah.
Burst. Hey, fake blood.
Yeah.
Piper's
Piper's hand starts shaking. Prue drops the Book of Shadows and grabs Piper just before she falls. And then she looks at her hand, which has grabbed Piper from behind, and it has blood on it.
Yeah.
And again, we don't actually see the back of Piper's shirt, so we can't tell where the bullet went into her body.
They do mention it later, though.
They do mention it later, but if you are looking at where the bullet came out, it is just below her boobs in the middle of her stomach.
Yeah, it's like just below her solar plexus. So like it went out under the rib cage.
Right. So you would think that the bullet would have come in from like the middle of her back or something like that because of where this happened.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler. That's not
doesn't.
where they say it came from.
No.
We'll get there when we get that
Yeah.
in a bit.
Yeah. We cut to outside where we see Alice lowering a scoped rifle standing on top of her sparkly van.
And happily yelling that she killed the Wicked Witch.
And only at this point do several uniformed cops.
3 uniformed cops who apparently hadn't been paying attention to the rifle-wielding woman before now, because it was a fucking scoped rifle, so you know she had to have been aiming for at least a moment,
Yeah.
grab her and pull her off the van, and the rifle lands on the roof of the van, and the cops just leave it there. Nobody even, goes to reach for it to grab it to get it out of harm's way. They push her to the ground, they handcuff her, and then Daryl is the one who takes her away.
Which makes very little sense to me because, she has shot into an occupied house. Why is the first thing he's doing? He knows them. Why isn't he, running into the house? Yeah, we cut back inside the manor. Piper is now laying on the floor trembling, and Prue is, holding her and has a towel pressed against Piper's wound, and she's trying to reassure Piper that everything will be okay. She's crying, calling out for Leo, and I'm like, call a fucking ambulance, Prue.
Yeah, when he doesn't come, she realizes that she has to get Piper to the hospital and starts lifting her up.
Call a fucking ambulance, Prue.
We cut outside, where Prue is now helping Piper out to the car via the back door. Now, here is the other thing. They were in the fucking living room.
Yeah.
So she walked Piper out through the foyer, through the dining room, through the kitchen, out the back door to come around the driveway, instead of just coming out the front door, where it would have been faster, it would have been simpler.
Or she could have called a fucking ambulance, Prue. Anyway. Alana is standing on the grass above the driveway, asking what's going on. Prue opens the door to her car and helps Piper into the backseat.
And we can see at this point that there is a broken glass, the passenger side, driver's side door. The glass is broken out because that when they had the doctor in the back of the car, the shack's wind thing broke through that window to push him out the passenger side door of the car. Didn't break that window.
No.
But broke the driver's side passenger window.
Yeah.
And Prue's
And it's a very interesting break too.
Yeah, because it
looks like pieces
safety
of tape
glass
against the edges.
Yeah, it's like it just blew out the middle, and the bits around the side are still holding on, even though they're cracked to shit. But Prue's driver's side window is rolled down. It doesn't look like it was broken out. It looks like it was just rolled down, which I think is also interesting.
Yeah.
So she helps Piper into the back seat. Piper is laying down now in the back seat. She ignores Alana and calls out for Leo again. She gets in the car. She starts the engine, and she starts to drive toward the end of the driveway. But everyone, all of these passerby, all of these like pedestrians, whatever, are blocking the way.
And see, if she called a fucking ambulance,
or if she had called Daryl,
or
anything, like there are so many different ways this could have gone. But there is also a striped like barricade.
Yeah.
At the driveway because they were trying to keep the people off the driveway.
Yeah.
So they've put a barricade in front of the driveway.
Which hasn't stopped people from like being around the driveway.
Well, yeah.
Or being in front of the driveway.
So she honks the horn and she's yelling at them to move. And Alana again asks what's going on with the camera, with the microphone, all of that. Prue keeps shouting for the crowd to move and honking her horn, and when nobody
yells
moves,
that they have to get to the hospital, and Alana's still going, what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, so when nobody moves, she gets back out of the car, she's screaming that they need to go, nobody's moving. We hear the sounds of the crowd echoing a bit. As she gets even more frustrated, she's yelling, what's wrong with you people, as nobody's getting out of the way.
And it's a very stereotypical, like, crowd who doesn't fucking listen.
Yeah. And then everything starts to go into slow-mo.
Yeah.
And
we can hear her heartbeat, like, starting to slow.
Yeah, and the crowd is getting slower, and she calls out for Leo in slow motion, and we see Alana still trying to get an answer from her. And then Prue uses her power on Alana and her cameraman and sends them flying backward onto the lawn, and then everything vroom, comes back into normal speed.
And then she uses it on like the other side of the driveway, and then
everybody starts running away, but not fast enough for her. So she's like using her power on everyone in the way. They go flying through the air. One guy lands on a car and breaks the windshield. We see other people landing on cars and then sliding over them and landing in the street.
Yeah. Prue gets back in her car, drives down the driveway and breaks through the barricades, and then tears off down the street past a bunch of diagonally parked cars.
And no bodies.
No bodies.
That's the other thing. She has been flinging people all over the place, but when she's actually driving on the street, there's nobody around anymore.
Nope.
It was just... I have so many thoughts on how this went.
Yeah.
And I love this show. We both love this show.
Yeah.
But none of them are good. Like, this went to commercial break, and I paused and just stared at the black screen for a good 3 minutes, just going, why? There are so many different ways you could have handled this.
Yeah. I mean, clearly they are too used to having Leo there to heal them that Prue has forgotten they can't call him.
Yeah.
Like, he said that.
Yeah.
He said that
Yep.
to her face.
Yep.
And she didn't fucking remember?
Yep.
And she could have, like, if you called 911, sure, the ambulance would have gotten there a couple minutes later, but you wouldn't have had to move Piper. You could have continued, like, holding pressure on probably both sides, because entry wound.
Yeah.
And then everyone would have seen the ambulance and gotten out of the way.
Hopefully.
I mean, EMTs are, like, absolutely no nonsense. Even the reporter would be like, oh, I'm going to get out of the way and then follow them. She's not going to, like, get in their way to ask them why they're here.
Yeah.
I mean, unless the writers want to be that stupid, but...
Yeah.
There are just... And then they would have gotten to the hospital a hell of a lot sooner while Piper was getting medical treatment.
Yeah, there are just so many different ways that this should have gone down.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, this was not... I mean, I kind of understand why they did it this way, but, like, it was still not good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we come back from the commercial break. We're at the hospital, and Piper is now on a stretcher, on a gurney, with 4 doctors racing her to a room.
Oh, another note. When we see Prue's hands on the wheel of her car, there's no blood.
Yeah.
Real funny.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we see her, like, her coming with the stretcher with Piper in it, and we do see like a little bit of like
A
residue,
little bit of blood on her, yeah.
on her hands.
She's asking, this is the funniest part for me. Prue is running beside the stretcher, asks where Dr. Griffiths is, because he should have been here right by now, just as he gets to them. And this time he's not wearing scrubs or a white coat. He's just in his blue shirt and pants and whatever. He asks what happened. Prue says it was some idiot in front of the house. And they take Piper into this room. And he starts getting info from the hospital staff that's helping out. And they transfer Piper from the stretcher to the bed. And then he gets a gown to cover his clothes. And Prue is holding Piper's hand. And now we can see her hands are completely red, covered in blood.
Yeah.
And we learn that the gunshot wound supposedly entered Piper's back on the upper right and exited via her abdomen. Now, I'd have loved to have seen some forensics
That's a
on
significant
this,
downward angle.
because it just doesn't make sense.
And we have mentioned that when Alice was standing on the car, she was well below the level of the house. If anything, it should have, like, if it had exited through her abdomen, it should have entered through, like, her lower right back. Like,
Yeah.
shot through a kidney or something.
Yeah. The other thing that I would also like to say is that where Alice's car was, I want to know how she made this shot to begin with, because they were standing in the foyer.
No, they were standing in the living room.
Were they in the living room?
Yep.
Okay.
They were in the living room. She shouldn't have been able to see because of the curtain, but I don't know, maybe like there was a gap or something.
Yeah.
But like it wasn't a very, like it's weird how good of a shot that was, because like
Even with a scope.
Yeah.
It would have been the way that Alice's car is parked. Even with a scope, she would have been aiming through a building.
yeah. I don't think she would have been able to even... Well, no, she probably could have aimed through the window because they were close enough to it that they would have been visible had the curtain not been there.
Yeah. But the other thing is, as someone who has shot a rifle, I'm assuming that the rifle she was shooting was just a .22, because it didn't seem like it was a higher caliber rifle. But if it was a .22, then there shouldn't have been nearly as much blood unless she hit a whole mess of shit on the way out.
It did go through her thoracic
But
cavity, so...
then Piper should have bled out way faster.
Yeah, again, they don't
Like,
know medical on this
Yeah,
show.
there's just...
They don't need to.
There's just so much.
But also, exit wounds are much larger than entry wounds.
Yes,
No
but
matter what weapon you're using.
But even for a .22,
yeah, I know.
it wouldn't be as big and gory.
22 rifle, yeah.
Yeah.
Now for a 20, I believe the little 22 handguns, those are the ones that I think like mob used, because if you shoot someone in the head with that, it goes in and it can't go out because it doesn't have enough momentum. So it's kind of...
It's the same bullet.
Oh, yeah?
It's
Okay.
the exact same bullets. I know. I have shot a .22 handgun and a .22 rifle on the same day using the same bullets. It's the same bullets.
That's funny.
Yeah. It's just, it depends on, because with a rifle you get more power because it has longer to build up that speed going out.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that does not make sense. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyway.
Dr. Griffiths listens to Piper's chest with a stethoscope, says Piper's lungs are filling, I think?
No,
I heard filling.
and I heard failing.
Well, filling makes sense to me because she would be having a pulmonary edema from all of the blood.
Right, but if her lungs were filling with blood, I don't necessarily think he would have then called for them to keep pumping her full of blood in the same way. Whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Well, I mean, she's going to need the blood for the blood loss anyway. If they're filling, that just tells the team that they need to be getting those lungs clear.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean don't give her blood because she's still losing the blood.
True. I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So
so
he wants to start an IV of type O.
As well as giving her 40 cc's of adrenaline.
Which seems like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, it's like, are you...
So you want to speed her heart up?
Yeah, are you
so
trying
she can lose
to make
more
blood? Yeah. I'm not going to tangent on blood types or adrenaline because they're not that interesting, but I'll link to the wiki on the website just because.
I'll disagree that they are interesting, but we're not going to tangent on it.
Yeah, they're not as interesting as other things we have spoken about.
I find blood types very fascinating, but we're not going to tangent on it.
Yes.
Prue calls out for Leo again. Piper says something must have gone wrong because Leo can't hear her. No, he's just downstairs.
I think what Piper was trying to say was that something must have gone wrong downstairs because he's not back yet, so he can't hear.
But anyway, Piper says she's cold and can't feel her legs.
Prue is begging her not to die. And then one of the doctors says that Piper's pulse is dropping. Piper tells Prue that she loves her, and then the line on the heart monitor flattens out.
Or rather, the machine starts doing that
beeping
thing. So Piper goes into full arrest. Dr. Griffiths asks for some paddles.
Which means he's going to try defibrillation. I will link to that on the website. I'm not going to tangent on it.
Yeah, 2 doctors bring the machine over. He picks up the paddles.
And the nurse squirts some gel on the paddle.
And then he rubs the 2 together.
And Prue kind of stands back and cries. And Doctor calls out clear and uses the paddles on Piper. And it doesn't work, so they recharge and they try again. And it still doesn't work, so he stops trying.
Yeah.
Twice? Really? That's it?
The
Twice?
only accurate things in all of this medical shit are the moment when they move her from the stretcher onto the bed. Because that was well done. Mm-hmm. And that Prue stops holding on to Piper when they go for the defib.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be holding on to someone
who gets
when they're getting shocked.
Yeah, no, he's no good.
Those are the only 2 things they got remotely right.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, the gown was a nice touch.
Yeah. The doctor stands back from Piper, looks at Prue, who starts crying even harder, and he apologizes, and she starts crying uncontrollably and puts her head on Piper.
And there's
and then somebody in the background turns off the monitor, which I thought was kind of funny, because, can't leave that beeping going, because that's not good for sound.
Yeah, there's a bit like she touched her nose at one point, and so there's some fake blood on the tip of her nose.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Anyway, after the beeping monitor gets turned off, Prue kind of closes Piper's eyes. Great on Holly for this dead acting. This is excellent work.
Yeah, she stays super still.
Super still, like her eyes are open. They look completely vacant.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, she did real good. And that's hard to do when you're sitting there with your bra exposed, shirt wide open, like just acting there and pretending that you're dead when it's probably cold in that room.
Yeah.
Like, she did a good job.
Yeah, anyway, after Prue closes Piper's eyes, she growls at everyone to leave. So the doctors all
get
leave.
Out.
And we see like Griffiths kind of like look back.
Yeah.
And then
as the doors close, we see
a music cue, an ominous music cue comes on, and we see a SWAT team guy face through the window in the door.
Yeah, and none of the SWAT people get IMDb credits, so yeah.
Yeah. We cut back downstairs to the underworld, where Phoebe and Leo are discussing something very quietly when Cole walks in.
Phoebe goes over to him and she asks where he's been since they've been worried, and then sees the look on his face and is like, "What's the matter?"
He says that the source knows about them and tells her about the deal being offered. Leo immediately tries to shut it down. He's like, "We're not that desperate."
Yeah. Phoebe asks why the source would think that she'd accept that offer, and after a moment of hesitation, Cole says that it's the only way to bring one of her sisters back to life.
And Phoebe's like, "Oh shit, what?"
Yeah.
Leo says that they're lying. Cole's like, he's not.
Yeah, he's like, "It's a trick." Like, nope, it's not.
Yeah, we cut back to the hospital as a SWAT team walks through the corridor.
Yeah, they're walking past, like, nurses and whatever, and we cut into the room where Prue and Piper are, and Prue is still crying and holding Piper's hand, and she starts pulling tubes off of Piper, and then a SWAT team guy walks into the room holding his gun and tells her to keep her hands where he can see them and she won't get hurt.
She turns toward him and uses her power, and he flies out of the room.
But to be fair, she did keep her hands where he could see them.
This is very true.
Another SWAT member runs in, she kicks him, and then uses her power and flings him out the door.
And then she grabs one of those IV stands.
Which is basically just a long metal bar.
Yeah, and pokes it through the loop handles of the door to keep it closed.
Now, but to be fair, I want to know how this long metal bar broke off its base, because they normally have a base that they're attached to.
Yeah, but you can unscrew that.
Yeah, but she didn't look like she unscrewed anything.
Didn't.
She just picked it up and it was there. She turns off the lights, which I also thought was funny. Like, how is that going to do anything? But whatever. She walks back over to Piper, and then Leo orbs in, and
Prue tells Leo that they killed her. They think we're the demons now.
And then Leo walks over to Piper, starts to cry, leans over her and starts babbling about not understanding and how sorry he is, and he kisses her forehead. And as much as I love Leo, it was just a little bit overacting and hokey.
I think I was still reeling from the "they think we're the demons now" line, that I couldn't focus on whether or not he was overacting. He seemed fine to me.
No.
Well, no. I'm saying I wasn't paying enough attention to see whether or not it was overacting, because I was still like, I'm sorry, where are you getting this information from?
Yeah, I really want to find a GIF of him in this moment, because it is the most... I love Leo. We all know this.
Yeah.
But it was so bad. Like, and the only thing...
Everyone else is doing pretty good acting in this episode.
Whatever. And he was just
Piper,
so
Prue.
overacting and hokey. And, like, I legit was like, Shannon's the director. Did she make him act this bad? Seriously?
Oh, my God.
Like, I was like, I know that things are about to happen, but really? Really? Oh, man. Anyway, so Prue pulls him back, asks if he can make it right, yells at him to go, and he orbs out, but, like, he's standing, like, stick straight, like, paralyzed, and then orbs out. Prue goes back over to Piper and promises her that Leo's gonna fix it. She'll be fine. And we cut back down to the underworld, where Phoebe and Cole are staring at the Candle Rock.
Leo orbs in, still crying. Phoebe turns around, immediately knows that Piper has died because of how
Leo has reacted.
How broken up he is. She hugs him really tightly. He says she doesn't have to do this. She's like, no, I do. And then turns to Cole.
She asks if resetting time will affect them down here. He says no, and she seems to be happy with that.
She says she has only one condition, which is that he must warn Prue and Piper about the demonic hitman attacking, or they'll be dead anyway. We time jump to Cole, kneeling in front of the source.
The source seems to agree to the condition. Cole stands, bows, and walks away, and our guard demon dude comes in.
Mr. Iron Bear.
Yeah. Walks in, kneels in front of the source, and is told to detain Balthazar as soon as time is reset,
and to kill his wish,
so that he doesn't have to worry about Balthazar or the Charmed Ones anymore. The guard nods and walks away.
I mean, yeah. This is exactly what I expect evil to do.
Yeah, because, evil.
Yeah.
We cut back to the hospital, where Prue has covered Piper over with a blanket, and a SWAT member outside has a gun pointed at the room with a scope that's using thermography.
It looks...
So we see a lovely thermal image of Prue pacing the room.
It looks like the lens from the cameraman guy. Like, it's big.
It's big. It's very big.
Yeah.
So thermography is actually...
Thermography?
Yeah, thermography. That's how I'm saying, because my mouth won't do it.
Thermography.
Thermography.
Photography. Thermography.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, it's actually used a lot in ghost hunting, because the point is that you can see temperature differences. So there's that. Mm-hmm. It's like infrared stuff, whatever. I'll link to the wiki for it in case anyone wants to know more about it, because it's actually quite interesting.
But the important thing is that they are very clearly aiming this through a wall, which is not how that works.
Mm-mm.
Not even
because you would
maybe a window would work, but not a wall.
Had he been aiming it through the window in the door, then maybe.
But no, they're crouched down.
Through
they
the
can't
wall,
see
they
through
should
the
be
window.
just seeing the temperature of the wall, because that's how that works.
And maybe like if there's a hot water pipe in there.
Mm.
But yeah, we cut back to the source. Not
Tempest.
Was that one of the Carradines, I believe?
Yeah,
I
think so.
Is he the dead one?
No, I don't know.
I forget. He's one of the Carradines, either way.
Yeah, but so we cut back
and
to the source.
And he's not in this episode. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, we cut back to the source, who resets time with a crack of thunder, and then cut to the hospital as the SWAT member fires his gun. The bullet goes straight through the wall, heading for Prue.
And we see her, like, with her... She had been, like, with her hands on her face, and they split apart as she sees the bullet, which this would go way too fast for that shit. But it stops in midair right in front of her, and then reverses. And we get the whole day resetting by a few backward shots of a previous few minutes. We get a night shot of the Golden Gate Bridge, cars driving by in reverse. Then a day shot of the manor,
where we see the clouds in the sky going in reverse.
Yeah.
And then a shot of the grandfather clock in the manor spinning backwards.
And it ends with Prue, Piper, and Dr. Griffiths back in the manor at the base of the stairs just before Shax attacks.
Shax attacks. We get a repeat of the conversation that we heard at the beginning of the show, which I will quickly rehash. So Prue tells Dr. Griffiths that he's a healer. The demon Shax is out to kill him. The doctor thinks he's on a hidden camera show or that his second wife put them up to it. And Prue says that she feels a chill in the air. She calls out for Phoebe, but there is silence. So we know that this started with Phoebe going upstairs to the attic.
Yeah.
And then a tornado of wind twists through the front door.
Prue calls out for Phoebe again and asks where she is. The tornado flies through the foyer, knocks Prue and Piper out to the... They basically almost perfectly repeated. They got to reuse all of the shots from the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, it's
They just had to
absolutely
ADR in, like, where are you?
Yeah, slight other things.
Yeah.
So, knocks Prue and Piper to the floor. We hear a clap of thunder. The tornado calms down and Shax appears and he starts going after the doctor. Prue gets up off the floor, pushes Griffiths out the way. Shax throws the energy ball at Prue. She crashes through the same wall as before.
Yes, the bits of Prue and Piper going through the wall are exactly the same as before. And this time we actually do get a quick shot of them lying on the ground.
Yeah, lying on the ground, unconscious, bleeding from the ears, just like before.
And then Shax turns back to Dr. Griffiths, who asks what he is. Shax says, the end, and then gets to throw a shockwave at Dr. Griffiths, who flies over
the dining room table.
Over the
side table under the window, and then crashes into the window, breaking the window.
And we see him hanging out the window.
Bleeding from the ears. And we get a quick shot of him, because we first see him, like, POV from outside of him hanging over the window with the bleeding from his ears.
Yeah.
And then a shot of inside of him laying, like, just the bottom half of his body is laying over the side table in front of the window with his front half hanging out the window. Nothing is broken other than that window.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then we see Grayscale Fabio smiling, looking around. We see Prue and Piper unconscious on the floor.
And he seems very pleased with what he's done.
He turns back into the wind. It flies out the front door. And we get a lovely dolly shot, or like a dolly crane shot or something, of it pulling out through the foyer, out through the doors. The doors slam shut and all of the glass and then breaks.
No, not all of the glass.
Well, almost all of the glass.
Just the white panes of glass in the middle. The stained glass stays intact.
Oh my god, that's great.
Like, why? What? How?
But yeah, it pulls out, and I remember seeing like one little triangle of the white glass like left in there, and it pulls out and up and up and up, and then it fades to black, and we have executive producer credit.
Yeah.
And it's a cliffhanger.
It's a cliffhanger. Yep. We do not know what happens next, but we shall find out.
I think this is probably the only cliffhanger they have where there isn't another episode right after, so far.
I don't know.
It feels very different.
I mean, it's very much a season finale.
Well, I know that, but it feels very different in terms of just like this like what they have ended on from all of the previous episodes of this show.
Yeah.
And that could just be because it's Shannon directing, but I think it's also like they knew what they were gonna do. They just didn't want to let the audience in on it or something.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, you and I know what happens next. A lot of the people listening probably know what happens next.
But not all of them, I'm sure.
That's why I said a lot.
Yep.
And there's absolutely no indication.
Right.
Of what has happened, what is going on, how this is going to end. They don't even, like, they throw no bones.
Yep.
Behold the field in which they grow their fucks. You will see that it is barren.
Correct. And
now you have to wait months to find out.
Yep.
And if you don't pay attention to news stories about things, you're not gonna know fucking anything.
Yeah. It's definitely a good cliffhanger to end on, in that there is some, if you're paying attention to the show, there is some foreshadowing of what may happen.
I loved all of, like, half of Piper's lines were foreshadowing lines.
Yeah.
Dodged a bullet. I watched this and I went, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You put that in here. Guys! Guys!
Yeah.
And then, like, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, someone said, oh, we should just let the innocent die. And I'm like, that's a foreshadowing line right there.
Yeah.
They popped
so
out
much.
at me. They popped out at me like cute little cherry bombs while I was watching this episode. I'm like, ah!
Yep.
Which is always how foreshadowing happens, like, post, like, in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
Yeah, that's why
man.
I love this rewatch, because we are now at the end of season 3, which means we are now coming up on the seasons that I do not remember anything.
Yeah.
I remember little bits and pieces.
Waiting for me.
But yeah, I literally, from here on out, not a clue. Mm-hmm. So it's all going to be basically new to me, even though I've watched it all once. But I've only ever watched the rest of this series once. The first 3 seasons I've watched more than once, which is why, and the first season especially, I've watched over and over. Which is why the first 3 seasons are the ones that are more in my brain, and the rest of it, not a clue. And also because of where I was in life when it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was, it was a weekly show that I watched, but it wasn't like the end all be all of my existence. It was along with a lot of other stuff. And so, like...
Yeah, and see, I videotaped all of this.
Yeah.
On VHS.
Yep.
With a teeny little TV, like the one they have in their kitchen.
Yeah.
And, I used to draw trichetras on the label.
Nice.
Along with what episode it was.
Nice.
I believe I used the episode titles? I might not have. Oh, no, I just probably... No, I just said, oh, it's Charmed, and then I just labeled, like, numbered all of the VHSs, like, in order.
Well.
My brother did the same thing with Voyager.
Nice. So, since we have reached the end credits, that means we are on to our ratings portion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what you're rating?
Yes.
I will let you go first.
I'm giving this 8 out of 10 Flashy Fabios. As much as I'm hating being reminded of this stupid fucking Cole Phoebe plot, otherwise it's a really impactful episode, and it's very important in the terms of canon of the show.
Yes,
and I fucking love seeing Shax just like tornado on in like a goddamn Tasmanian devil. And then tornado back out. I love that his shirt is unbuttoned for some reason. Yeah. Like, a lot of this I remember pretty well. And, like, sure, I don't enjoy parts of it. But otherwise, I'm just like, this is an important episode that I have to watch. Like, if I'm just watching through. This one I definitely have to watch. There are a few, like, typically I'm a completionist, so I don't like to skip things.
Mm-hmm.
But, there are some where I just be like, I don't need to see this. This is not important. This one definitely is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I gave it a 6 out of 10 double-crossing demons. It was... Like, the bits that I liked were great.
Mm-hmm.
But there was just so much in this episode that could have been done differently and still gotten us an outcome that would have been entertaining, that it frustrated me to no end.
Yeah.
And, like, not remembering this episode, with the exception of, like, knowing who the bad guy was, it was one of those where, while I was entertained because it's Charmed and Charmed is entertaining to me, I wasn't as entertained as I would have liked to have been.
Okay.
And it's not one that I would go back and watch again. And that says something. Like, it's a season finale, and I'm good with just watching it the once, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to see it again. I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm good. I know how it happens. Let's go on to the next, and I'm cool with that. Like, there was nothing in this episode that made me be like, I want to rewatch every bit of this, rah rah rah. Like, bits and pieces. If I see a gift set, I'd be like, ha, you know.
Yeah.
I'm cool with a gift set, but I don't need to watch this particular episode again.
That's fair.
Yeah. Anyway, so with our ratings done, we're on to outfits, of which they all wear the same thing the entirety of the episode, so...
And Prue's was my favorite.
Yeah, Prue's was my favorite, with the jacket.
Yeah.
Because Prue in a leather jacket is just iconic.
Well, yeah, women in leather jackets is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
Oh my god.
Oh, man. Hoo boy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That means that we're on to our season finale specialty bit, where we ask some questions.
What?
So our first question is, what is your favorite episode of the season? And for me, it was just harried because Piper and Leo finally get married.
I think mine's gotta be Bride and Gloom. Because they just have so much fun.
Second question is, do you have a least favorite episode of the season? Which, for me, the demon who came in from the cold and wrestling with demons both hold this spot for very different reasons.
See, I actually really like wrestling with demons because I forget what I said while it was happening, but the wrestlers make that so much fun for me. And I'm just like, I can't hate this episode. Just because, plus I love Ron Perlman.
Well, yeah, like I don't hate the episode. It's just one of my least favorites.
That's fair.
Let's put it this way. If I had to choose between wrestling with demons and this season finale episode, I would rather watch Wrestling with Demons again.
Yeah, that's fair.
Which says a lot about this episode.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But do you have a least favorite?
It's probably Demon Who Came In From the Cold.
Yeah.
Or whatever the sequel to that fucker was. I forget, because those were technically two-parters, right?
Exit Strategy?
Yeah, it's one of those two.
Well, I can tell you by your ratings that
here, let me
Demon Who
see.
Came In From the Cold is your lowest rated.
Ah, yes.
So there is that. It was also my lowest rated.
Can you, like, just looking back at the beginning of this season, like, how much shit fucking happened?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that has happened in this season, and it has gotten very...
It feels so long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like my brain splits it into two sections, like before Piper and Leo get married and after Piper and Leo get married. Like they're almost two different seasons.
I mean...
Like, I know they're
yeah,
not.
but
But
I
that's
kind of
just
get
what
that.
my brain does.
Yeah, I kind of get that. Because before Piper and Leo get married, there's a lot of, like...
Like, we've only known Cole this season. That's it. It seems like so little.
Yeah.
So little.
And I think that's part of why, like, this whole them in love arc, whatever, is slightly annoying is, like...
Yeah.
At least Piper and Leo have known each other for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, question number 3. What do you think of Piper getting a new power?
Oh my god, I've been waiting for this for so long.
I love this power so much. I'm
Oh my
so
God.
excited that she gets it.
I can't wait for her to have more fun with it.
And it's really funny because I, not remembering the rest of the series, it's going to be fun to see what happens with it because I don't remember.
Uh-huh.
And, like, it's just is great.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm very happy that she got another power in this season.
Yeah.
Question number 4. Who is your favorite Charmed one this season? For me-
Piper.
Yeah, it's
Piper.
Piper. It's always Piper.
Yeah.
It will never not be Piper. I'm fairly certain. But I honestly can't say that because I don't know after this season.
I know, right?
But
I'm pretty sure it's
always
still going to
Piper.
stay Piper for you. And that's not a dig for later seasons. I think it's going to stay Piper.
Yeah. Question number 5. Do you have a favorite villain? Because for me, while Natalie doesn't really count as a villain, as much as I hated her character, I liked the concept.
Natalie.
That was the other White Lighter.
Okay, because I was going to say it was probably Silky Shirt Snape for me.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I can see that.
That or Shax, honestly. I love an aesthetic villain where it's not just like, hey, I'm clearly evil. I'm doing evil things. It's like, no, I picked a look and I ran with it.
Yeah.
And I am also evil.
Yeah.
So, like, Silky Shirt Snape, Grayscale Fabio. Like,
Yeah.
those pop out to me real well.
Yeah. I think for me, I don't actually have a favorite villain. Like I said, I out of all of the like,
Natalie was more of an antagonist, really. At points.
yeah, but like she's the one that I'm just like, I liked her as a concept. I just didn't actually like her as a character because there was so much other things they could have done with her, and they just didn't. And so like, but I didn't really care much. I let me rephrase. I don't remember most of the bad guys in this season, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Because like, what I remember from this season is the girls being sisters.
Yeah.
And so...
And Prue having long hair.
Yeah. So for me, this entire season isn't about the bad guys for me. It's about the sisters. And so not having a favorite villain is because, like, I like the stories instead of the bad guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On to question number 6. What is your favorite moment of the season? This is our 6th and final question. For me, it was Piper vanquishing a watermelon. Because, I mean, come on.
Uh-huh.
It was just so
I'm
fun.
surprised that you wouldn't have put the wedding, but...
No, because while that episode was my favorite and, like, I love the wedding and whatever, it's not the best of weddings and, like, it was super sweet and whatever, but Piper vanquishing the watermelon and doing, like, the high-pitched squealy voice of, I didn't mean to vanquish watermelon! It was that entire scene is my favorite thing.
Oh, man.
And when I think of season 3...
the dog.
And when I think of season 3, while I think of Leo and Piper getting married, I also think of Piper vanquishing watermelon.
Yeah.
And it is just glorious.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
Yeah, I think that might be my favorite moment of it, too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's some good shit.
It's so good. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, just Piper with the new power.
Mm-hmm. But that means that we're done.
Yes, we are
We're done with not only this episode, but with this season.
Yes.
Which means that we are coming back next episode, season 4. Brand new season, brand new theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Brand new logo. That will be the updated logo that is the logo that you can get on our merch.
Yep.
So, since I've now mentioned it, let's go to social media stuff.
What?
Let's start out with the merch.
Yeah.
If you want to get our brand new logo on a t-shirt or a sticker or whatever, you can go over to redbubble.com/people/waterflame and you can get that there. And again, all of these links will be in the show notes on the website, in the show notes on iTunes. They're super easy. Just click it and go. It is awesome.
Yep.
You can find us on Twitter and Tumblr,
under
Charm Chats Pod. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram under Charm Chats. You can email us at charmchats@gmail.com.
And as always, all of the show notes, the links, all of the episodes are going to be up on charmchats.com.
Yep. And you can, if you don't want to get merch, but you still want to support us and can do a monthly donation, you can head on over to patreon.com/charmchats and become a patron there. And at any tier, you will get bloopers, tangents, all sorts of random stuff, as well as
our Patreon-only Charmed Reboot podcast.
Yes.
We're just gonna, it's not gonna be the same format as this show.
Not even remotely the same format.
It's gonna be super quick. I will be editing, so that means it will be very minimally edited because I have not enough patience.
Yes. There will be there will be there will be
there will be
bits of silence, there will be
bloopers
and stuff in it because she doesn't edit it.
Cold opens!
And cold opens because that's what she wants to do. And she's editing it, so I have no say. So, yeah, but that will be Patreon exclusive. So you have to be a patron, but you can be a patron at any tier and be able to get that. You will also get to be part of our Discord.
Speaking of Patreon, we have a new patron.
We do indeed. We have Abby at the $1 tier.
So now we shall shout your name into the ether.
Abby!
Thanks for joining us.
You're awesome. I think that's everything.
I believe that is everything.
So, until next time.
Sleep tight. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye.
Bye.
Phoebe, Piper, and Prue, they've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next time with Kendra and Kat on Charm.